the truth.
There are no coincidences, only the illusion of coincidence.
The following content is for informational and discussion purposes only. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the views of that one random podcast or its affiliates. We do not promote hate, harassment, or violence toward any person or group. Some topics include allegations, speculation, and historical claims that may be disputed. Always do your own research and verify with credible sources. Viewer discretion is advised.
All right, welcome back to that one random podcast. I'm Cypher.
I'm Treble.
No Waz today. Waz is watching the football. Yeah,
it's football season back on, isn't it?
Yeah, football season's back on, so we couldn't get Waz out for this one. All right, but we're going to talk about today UK immigration. Yeah, we're not just going to be talking about today about illegal immigration. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. Yeah, yes, race will come into the topic as well. It's going to be quite I suppose, what's the word I'm looking for? Complex.
It is a complex issue, to be
fair. There's a lot of complexities to it. There's a lot of opinions to it. Mine and Treble's will align at times, but at times we're going to disagree, as we do in our WhatsApp chat.
Yeah.
Shame Waz couldn't be here today, because it would be interesting. It would have been definitely them two against me. But look, I think the best way to start off is to probably give our views or a summary of our views of current situation in the UK, and I'll probably start off. Yeah, look, I'm gonna say I've got nothing against immigrants. Yeah, I've got no problem. My grandparents were immigrants coming to this country, backbone of the country, in my opinion. And as much as people want to slag it off, I do believe we need them. But at the same time, it needs to be done right. I can't disagree with what's been said on the other side. I've said this before. We did a UK riots episode, and we did a 2-part series on grooming gangs, and my viewpoint hasn't changed. You know, if you're going to come here, you got to play your part. Yeah, I've got no problem with people coming to this country who are struggling or coming from war-torn countries and stuff like that. Got no issue with it as long as you're playing your part. Yeah, and you integrate. Yeah, you can bring your faith, you can bring your religion, you can bring all of that with you, but don't expect to come over here and for it to dominate the UK society, basically. We're a nation of many cultures here, you know, and yeah, we do have racism in this country. We're not the perfect country. We know that. But at the same time, there are a lot of cultures here, and I think that's a good thing. I never think that's a bad thing. But if you're coming over here with a mindset to dominate it, if that makes sense, then no, I disagree with that. But at the same time as well, there are concerns. I believe everyone coming into the country needs to be vetted, because there are some concerns with some of these, there's a lot, right? And I know what everyone's going to say. I'm not just talking about the brown ones. I'm talking about ones that come from Europe, that come from anywhere, need to be vetted. You know, a few years ago, you know, if you remember the case that happened in Hanwell, local British girl, white girl, walking down by the river, got caught on a CCTV camera. A Lithuanian man rides a bike after it. A few weeks later, found out he'd done what he did and deleted her.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was all over the news. I remember it. And they found out he wasn't vetted properly. And the man had served time in Lithuania for the same offence. So how the hell did he get into the country? Just let me finish my point on all of this. I honestly believe there should be a 2-year structure for anyone coming into the country, whether it be illegal or legally, whatever it is. Yeah, for the illegal ones, definitely a 2-year structure. Yes, they're not going to have money, etc., and stuff like that. Yes, you have to set them up. Yes, you have to fund them to a degree. I think within 18 months, you should learn English, how to speak it, how to write, how to read. Just has to be basic level. Yeah, it doesn't have to be the Queen's English. Yeah, but you got to be able to communicate. Do you know what I mean? You can't be walking around. That's like me going to Spain and not learning Spanish.
Or even just some basic Spanish. Yeah.
Right, like in terms of living over there, not going on holiday, right? And I think then from that point, the government should help them find a job. Put them in a job and say, right, you're on your own now. We've settled you in. Bye-bye. You pay your taxes like everyone else. That's my opinion of it. But there are concerns around criminality. And we should be vetting people properly before we allow them in. Over to you, Treble, man.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you're saying. I think immigration is a good thing. We need immigrants. But the reason why we're talking about this issue at the moment is because of this influx of illegal immigrants that are coming mainly on the boats. I guess they are coming on planes as well. But the ones on the boats, as you said about the vetting process, the people on the boats are unchecked. They're undocumented. And we can't deny that the majority of them are fighting-aged males. We're not seeing the women and children in the high percentiles of it. And that's a real concern for safety, for culture, like you say. But I do agree, like, yeah, immigration is a good thing, but it has to be done properly. Like, I'm from an immigrant background, quote unquote. But I remember my mum saying that she went to the British Embassy, she did interviews to get all the necessary paperwork and become a citizen here. What happened to that process? Why is that? You're talking, you mentioned about the Lithuanian guy from Hanwell not being vetted properly, but the people coming on the boats aren't even being vetted at all. And so...
Well, I think that's a little bit hard to vet them because of the countries that they come from as well. I think that's where the problem is. How do you get around that problem is the issue.
Send them back.
It's not as simple as that, though, Treble. Like, you think it's that simple. Everyone thinks
why is it not that simple?
Because there's legalities involved. So I'm glad we'll go through them tonight because I've done my research, as I always do.
Yeah, right.
Unlike you.
You don't need to break it down for me because obviously on the surface, this is crazy.
And I will. That's why I've done my research, because it's important to make sure we are doing our research to understand why it works the way it does. But I kind of want to go back, stick a pin into what the point you were making right now, which is just send them back. There are legalities involved, but I want to start with the whole fighting age men. Okay, elaborate on that. What's your concern with that? What are you worried about?
All right, so we should be taking, if you're saying that these guys are refugees, right, by the definition of people searching for refuge from either a war-torn country or from a place of hardship that they really need to get a better life, that's fine. I'm not against people coming to look for a better life. But the truth is, when I say fighting age men, I'm talking between the ages of, say, 16 to 30 or whatever you want to say the gap is, where, people are in their prime physique in terms of...
I think it ranges a little bit more than, I think it's probably about 16 to 40-ish.
16 to 40, which is still fighting. I mean,
no. I'm not just, I just want to give a broader, because the things I'm about to go into, that was just limited to just...
I wouldn't class them as vulnerable. As vulnerable people that need that extra care and recourse for welcoming, if that makes sense. These guys are supposedly fleeing war-torn countries, yet they're leaving the women and children behind in the war. Is that actually what's going on? That these men are coming over and
let you say your piece.
The women and children behind, and then they come to this country, and I don't know. The perception is, whether this is true or not, but the perception is that they're going to be sponging off our system when we have enough domestic problems that the government don't want to address.
Well, like the Barrys.
Like the Barrys. Yeah, that's true. But that's an in-house problem that we need to deal with. Imagine that you're, let's think, you're running a restaurant or you're running a retail store, and you've already got your own problems with your own staff. But now you're all of a sudden being forced to take on 100+ volunteers that you also need to pay and take from the CAF, and it just puts unnecessary strain on your workload already. Is that right? Is that fair for you?
So look, I do get where you're coming from, yeah. Okay, but for me, I think the biggest glaring concern for me is, all right now with what's going on in terms of on the street. Yeah. Okay. So yes, we have our own problems here in the UK. Like, come on, like knife crime and criminality in London is out of control. I think, we're the murder capital of the country now. Of Europe now, yeah. So I remember in 2005, and I'm just going to paint a picture. In 2005, Glasgow was the murder capital of Europe. Now it's London here in 2025, 20 years later. That just shows we haven't moved on. If anything, we've just got worse. It's just moved cities, really, in a sense, right? We've got... And this is where I know you get mad at me, right? You lot get fired. You and Waz get frustrated at me, yeah? I am never going to stop pointing out the hypocrisy of it all as well, yeah? So although, yes, this is a concern and it is something to be worried about and it's something that we need to kind of fix or find a remedy to, I can't help I'm one of those people who's always going to point out the hypocrisy as well in all of it. You know, let's look at Epping, for example, right? So all these protests which turn into violent riots that occur, and it always ends up like that. They start out all of them just protesting, and then suddenly it gets all violent, right? You're getting mad, you're getting frustrated because one of the guys from that hotel assaulted a girl or attempted. Did he actually assault her? I think he did actually assault her, didn't he? What was it?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Either or, it doesn't really matter. It's bad, right? It's not great. Yeah, we know that. We don't agree with that. And he got arrested and charged. Funny enough, in Epping a few weeks or a couple of months before, something like that, I've lost the clip now. I was going to play it. 2 white guys committed the same offence. You know, if you took out the illegal immigrants, and let's say we got rid of all of them, we still have a massive problem in this country, societally, and we talked about this in the Grooming Gang episodes, of paedophilia, right? And child abuse and women being abused and assaulted. And yes, I know what you're going to say. Yes, majority of our country is white, okay? But I don't really care about that. Yeah, all I know is that women and children are being hurt. So, and my frustration is that you're never, I'm not talking about you specifically, although you're a bit like that as well, I think, yeah. You and Waz are like that, yeah. Because when I do put those posts up, you ignore them in the WhatsApp chat. You're not slick, you two, yeah? Yeah, okay. And I highlight everything, yeah. Like I've done it in the last few days. You've seen me highlight a lot of things that will go, which is in agreement with what you're saying as well, right? But my frustration with that is that it's being ignored, yeah. I'm never going to ignore someone else's pain and suffering just to focus on a political agenda over here from politics, yeah? And it is a political agenda. Let's talk about it, yeah? Nigel Farage, he's using it as a political tool to gain favour, and he doesn't give a shit.
But is it an issue?
He's got members of his party who have beaten up women, their wives, their spouses, yeah? He's got members in his party who are questioning kiddie, you know, fiddlers, right? He's got people who are ex-Conservative, ex-Labour, right? This guy takes fund. This guy is up for sale from the highest bidder. Yeah. Now Waz has changed his tune on Farage because he's heard what Tommy Robinson says, which is they're not against mass deportation, right? So why are we trusting these guys who continually lie to us, yeah, and then push an agenda on us, and then we're going to go out there and we're going to act that way?
Well, what's the lie? Is there a problem or not? Firstly.
Yes.
So what's the lie then? But
at the same time, how are you going to trust a man who's telling you they need to go, but then telling you part of their party's agenda is no mass deportation? So this mass deportation you're looking for, and these people that are out there writing are looking for, you're not going to get it.
How do you know we're not going to get? Why do you say that?
You're not going to get it.
I agree.
We're going to get into we're going to get conspiratorial about it at some point in this episode. I agree. Yeah, I just don't want to go into it. I don't want to get into it right now because there is an agenda here, right? For all of these people coming across, right? We know that, right? Farage is part of the establishment. He's not against the establishment, all right? And he's not gonna, like, it was. We'll play the clip later on, and we might just do it now, actually, right? But he got asked a question, and I noticed how he did his usual and it's not just him, all politicians do this. He avoided the question and just said, these people need to go, if you come from Afghanistan, you need to go back to Afghanistan, if you go, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, yeah? But the question was, how are you going to stop the boats? So all he talked about was, when they get here, we'll deport them. But how are you going to stop the boats? Because the boats are still going to keep coming. The question is, how do you stop it from happening so you don't have to deport them?
Well, you just got to get more navy or military presence on the shorelines.
But then they're still going to bring them back into our shore, and we got. How do you stop that process? Absolutely, this is the bit you're missing, right? Okay, my point being is the boats are never going to stop, and our tax-paying money is always going to pay for it.
I think I saw on a YouTube comment,
and a large amount of money is going to go on it forever.
Yeah, all you have to do is stop the benefits, really, and then the boats will stop coming. Once there's no more incentive to come here. Most likely they're not going to be coming over when they know they won't get that package anymore.
But you know that can't happen due to legalities, right?
Why?
Humanitarian rights.
We need to get out of that.
Like, we've signed up to it.
Yeah, we need to get out of that.
We're going to go for it.
Who signed up for that?
We're going to have the UK.
Who's the UK?
The government. I
didn't sign up for that.
Well, your government. You didn't sign up for wars either, but they happened.
Can we unsign up for that?
Well, you could, but it causes problems.
What problem?
So we're going to go for it.
All right, but okay, back to your analogy though. Let's say you have
But
a
my
fire.
point is hypocrisy that no one ever calls out
No, but here's
what's
the
going
fact
on,
that-
what's always going on. And no one avoid, and I'm never going to stop talking about it. The fact that you do not, like, and I'm sorry, I question whether people actually care about children. 10,000 children go missing a year in this country, yeah? Now, although 93% of them come back within 3 days, and we spoke about this in the grooming gang situation, right? Episodes, where we had the detective, the Scotland Yard detective, and he said the one thing no one asks is, where did you go? No one stops to think like child prostitution is going on. That kid's going away for 3 years, being prostituted and coming back. All right. We have a serious problem in this country even without the illegals. Right. And we're not challenging that ever. No one ever challenges that. No one ever challenges, why is that not on the news? Why isn't that on the news every day? But we want to focus on legal migrants. I'm not saying you shouldn't have focused on it. We should focus on it. But my point is you need to focus on it all. Right? You can't be telling me you care about kids and you care about women's safety, but then 2 weeks ago, prior to the illegal immigrant who did that, who was staying at the hotel, prior to that, there was a couple of other guys who were British born who did it, and you didn't bat an eyelid.
So what's your solution then? What's your solution to that?
I've said this before. We've got money for war. We've got money for wars. Yeah, we've got 2.6 billion to give every year to Ukraine now until the job's done, as Starmer said it. Then you've got money here to put together task forces, police forces, special forces to go after actually go after these individuals. Yeah, around the country. I'm sorry, we're not a third world country. Yeah, we're like we're the seventh wealthiest country in the world. Right, we're a top 10 wealthy country.
And how do you trust? So do you trust the police? Do you trust the police?
That's the problem, though, as well, because we're going to get into that as well, because it seems like the police are in on it. That's concerning as well. Which is concerning, right? So this is what I'm saying. Like, we've got a right problem. It's going to carry on. Yeah, but whether they're here or not here, yeah, you still got a problem on your hands. My problem is that no one's raising that, no one's challenging that, you're going to these hotels, for crying out loud, yeah, okay, you're going to these hotels and you're doing all this protesting, great. What's that going to do? You need to be outside of 10 Downing Street, because that's where the decisions are made. They're not made outside that hotel, so you can go there as much as you like. The coppers are out there, they're going to follow their orders, which is protect the hotel. Okay. Yeah, let's be honest, they don't really think for themselves. Yeah, they're not going to say, yeah, we understand. They don't engage in conversation. They just stand there. Right? I saw a video and the guy was like, oh, look, emotionless. You don't care, do you? That's their job. They've got to be emotionless. Yeah, they can't get caught up in your emotions and mirror what you're doing, because that would just exacerbate the whole situation. But at the same time, that's not where the decision gets made. Where do decisions get made in this country? Where do they get made?
In underground basements.
Shut up. Where do they get made? We're talking normie here, and we're not talking about fucking. We're not even going to get to that. So we're not even at that stage yet. Yeah, in this episode, you're going ahead of yourself. We're talking normie talk here now. Where do they get made?
In the cabinet's office, and they discuss it in front of the press, and then they go to the civil service.
Why are you knocking on the door of a hotel when you need to be knocking on the door of 10 Downing Street?
All right, let me ask you this though. Let me try and lay the metaphor clear. We have a fire going on, and we're trying to extinguish this fire as best we can. Maybe we're really slow with it. We're pouring little bits of water. It's not really helping, but we have a fire growing. Now all of a sudden there's an influx of people who aren't even necessarily welcome or aren't coming through the right channels, but they've come over and they're pouring gasoline on your fire, making it bigger and worse. Yes, we have a fire that we were dealing with, and maybe we're not dealing with it properly.
No. We had a fire we weren't dealing with.
Or we're dealing with it, but we're not dealing with it properly. We weren't dealing with it,
bruv. We had the Scotland Yard guy clip, and he said it doesn't get dealt with.
Okay, fine. We have a fire that we're not dealing with, but now somebody's come along and started pouring gasoline on it. What you think that?
Yeah, but this is the hypocrisy.
That's hypocrisy.
This is the hypocrisy. Before that extra gasoline got on top, who was saying anything? Were you saying anything? Were the people out there who were protesting saying anything about it? Were they talking about the 10,000 kids that go missing every year? No. Before 2020,
but now they're pouring gasoline on it.
Before 2020, when all this illegal migration started ramping up, yeah. Prior to that, migration was in line. Even Nigel Farage said that himself. He goes, it's in line with our country and what it could sustain, right? Correct? So prior to that, all of these problems were going on in this country, yeah? Jimmy Savile was a highlight of that, yeah? From a societal, higher society point of view, right? What did these people do? Where were the protests then? Where was the rioting then? I'm not saying that I'm encouraging rioting or violence. We don't do that here on that one random podcast, of course. But I'm just asking, where was all of that? Because you know what? You didn't care. You didn't care. So don't tell me now you care about children, right, and their safety, women and their safety. And what's even worse, let's talk about it. Let's look at Tommy Robinson's rallies and stuff. His EDL buddies still show up, and some of them are ex-pedophiles who've been convicted. He's still mates with some of them. I've never heard Tommy Robinson calling out saying how disgusting this was and that was. I've heard him once say it. Yeah, we had a load of pedos coming into our EDL and then we got rid of them. No, you didn't, Tommy. You're still hanging out with them. He's a hypocrite himself.
No, I agree. Look, we've done an episode on.
So this is what I'm saying. Before 2020, when this really became a problem, like you said, that's when you started noticing all the boats coming across, and it was massively growing out of control.
It's rampant.
Yeah, it was rampant, right? Prior to that, it wasn't rampant. Prior to that, it was in line with our country, our migration policy. Yeah, or how many people were migrating it. Even Nigel Farage said that.
Yeah, but the net migration was done legally as well. He's not talking about illegal migration. He was talking about net migration.
No. The legal migration. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get what you're saying. That's not what I'm questioning here. What I'm questioning is about people. Do they really care? And prior to that, and you just sat there smiling because you're like, yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, don't even try it. Yeah, you were like, yeah, okay, cool, you're right. Yeah, because I am right. Because no one gave a shit about it before then.
But I don't understand why you won't call out the problem. Yes,
I did call out the problem. I just called out the bigger problem at the beginning.
About the boats?
Yeah.
All right, fine.
I've already done that.
But you're not...
But what did I say at the beginning about migration? Yeah, we have a problem here, yeah, which we need to get a hold of. So I've already called it. It's not that I've not called it. I just won't say it the way you say it.
I just want a bit more.
Because you should know by now, no one dictates to me or even tries to manipulate me into saying things that I want them to say. They want me to say. It's never going to happen. And I'm always going to point out hypocrisy. And let's be real. In this country, yeah, prior to this problem really ramping up in 2020, 2021, etc., and now it was blown out of freaking proportion now. It's massively out of control. We know that, right? And they're bringing over people that are... They're not bringing them over. Well, we'll get into that later, right?
Yeah, bringing them over.
No, we'll get into the conspiratorial side there. But right now, they're coming across, right? And there's a lot of them that are coming across. I'm critical of the left as well. Don't get me wrong, right? Who are saying, oh, race is not welcome and immigrants are and all this sort of stuff. But at the same time, I'm critical of them as well because what pisses me off about them is you're quick to defend the migrants, but you're not ready to talk about the problems that are coming with them and acknowledge that there's a problem with them. And one of them is sex offences, right? So I'm not just critical of the right, I'm critical of the left too. Yeah, they're both a bunch of idiots in my opinion. You know what I feel, yeah? Okay. And I get caught up in the political sides and all that side. I've said this many times, on one side, God's side, that's it. Yeah, you pick your freaking politician. Well, I follow one entity and that's it, the creator, right? But it's true. Yeah, and I do what I
say it like that.
Yeah, I follow the creator. That's it. I follow God. That's it. That's my side. That's my side. And I know God has given me the good sense to understand what's right and what's wrong. And yes, these migrants coming across is a problem. I've highlighted that. I said that at the beginning, right? And it needs to be managed better, right? I've got no problem with them coming across as long as they pay their way.
And managed better.
Meaning in a sense, like I already said it at the beginning, what I talked about. What I described
getting them to...
Yeah, they got...
Are you happy to fund that education that you talk about? Are you happy to fund that?
You have to... There's no other way you're going to... And remember, that's what I said, there's got to be a cut-off. Yeah? No way. That's why you've just got a new breed of Barrys you call Abdul now.
But isn't
that true? Isn't that true?
I'd rather it might sound wrong, innit? But the Barrys are institutional to this country from the get.
Barry's, listen, that's another hypocritical bullshit, yeah, right? Okay, because don't be funny, Barry's been fleecing me for damn 30 years. I'm sick of it.
I hear that.
I'm sick of Barry too, and I was banging on about.
That's the fire that I'm talking about.
I've been banging on about Barry for a long time, yeah, and it pissed me off, yeah. That there was that. Did you hear about that woman? right?
What woman?
Barry's daughter, right? Okay, on TikTok, who went on TikTok, right? White British girl, yeah, laughing at all of us. She was laughing at all.
Getting paid back.
She was laughing at all of us, saying that I don't understand why people work for a living in the UK.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and she was getting $4,000 a month, bruv. $4,000 a month. She's living in Gucci and freaking going on holidays and buying freaking whatever designer. Like, I can't afford that shit, but I'm paying for that shit. Why are we not mad about that? How much is that costing me in money? But great, be mad about the migrants coming in and getting their freebies. Be mad about the criminals that are coming across and doing their dirt over it. Absolutely. But remember, there's been a systemic problem here in this country way before that. And we never get mad about it. And you never raise a eyelid about it or an eyebrow about it. Yeah? It just pisses me off. Yeah? I've lived in this country and I've seen it go on for so long. Yeah? That's also out of control. 83% of our universal credit claimants are either British or Irish nationals. What does that tell you?
That they're the majority population.
That they're fleecing me.
That is true. I get that. Look, I'm not against taxation as a whole. I don't even think
so. I'm not getting
any of my money.
But the problem is, like I said, like if you're going to come in here, right, and they're going to come in, and most of them end up getting. You got to freaking put a program to say 2 years cut off point. Now the problem is, right. Me personally, I think after 2 years, you need to be telling them, right, we're going to cut you off regardless. Or we're going to say, listen, we know what country you come from. We're going to crack a deal, or we'll crack a deal with another country and put you there.
But nobody's going to take them. But no one's taking them.
If you go back,
their own countries won't even take them.
Rwanda did.
Did they? What happened to that? Why did that stop then?
I don't know why Starmer stopped that, but well, I'm guessing it's probably when we get to the conspiratorial side of it all, there's a reason behind why he stopped that. But at the same time, you got to remember they were paying Rwanda for that as well. There was a financial interest investment there that was being made for. I don't know how much it was per immigrant.
All right, but I got a question. This is
what I said to you. Yeah, right. This is why it's such a complex conversation, right? How do you fix it? I don't know.
Is there any other country?
I can give my ideas, but I can't say for definite, Treble, this is how we fix it. But I'm also at the same time going to point out the hypocrisies of it all as well, because we allow our own to do this to us. You know, and we're only getting mad at this side. No, hell no, man. I want to get mad at this side too, because Barry's been fleecing me a long time and he's been sitting on his ass claiming $2-3 a month, getting his housing benefit, his council flat. And meanwhile, I've got to pay, you know,
but now you've got to pay $1,300 a month for more people as well. So I get that there's hypocrisy, but like we still need to call it out. No, I didn't say not to call it out. That's your problem. Your problem is Treble, is you think I don't call it out. I call it out every time. Every episode we've done, I've called it out. Yeah, but your problem is what you want is you don't want me to focus on the other side of the argument, which I'm pointing out clearly, because you want only your focus on this problem. No, there's a problem here systemically within our country we got to deal with, where we got a bunch of losers who feed and live off us. But now we're importing more losers.
Yeah, I get that. But you keep making the same point. My point is, it's not being ignored by me. You think it is being ignored by you. Actually, you don't even think. You know I'm not ignoring it, yeah? But you want like the Barrys who are protesting. And you know what? That's another thing. Those cheeky bastards, Barrys, they're taking my money, but then they're outside the hotel protesting as well. Are you having a laugh? Get the fuck back in your yard, mate. Yeah? Like, you're taking a piss. If I show you some footage of some of these guys, they can't even string a sentence together.
Yeah, it's true.
All right? But there's other concerns I have, which if we were to stop all the boats and we stop that, and we should, like, if that was to happen, I know what's going to happen next, but we'll get to that in a bit, right? But you're not going to sit there and try and make it out like, oh, you're not calling out. I call it out all the time. What you don't do is you dismiss and don't call out the other side of the argument. And the amount of times you said, yeah, I'm all right with the Barry's taking my money. I'm all right with Barry making a mug of me. Yeah, all right. In our group chat, shut the fuck up, Treble. Yeah, you shut the fuck up.
What other countries are there that you can just go to and get a payout? Or is it just the UK that's doing this?
I think there's EU countries that also some. I don't know. I'd have to do my research on that. Yeah, I mean, you probably have to ask ChatGPT to see if there's other EU countries that. I would assume that other EU countries do, because Germany has a problem as well, right? We don't actually have the worst of the problem, although we have a problem. Yeah. From what I understand, most of get your phone out. I think it's a bigger problem in mainland Europe than it is here, I think. But you'd have to look into that. But my point is, listen, you're not going to try that shit with me, yeah? You joker, yeah? Fucking knucklehead. Try that trick with me like I'm going to ignore the other side of the argument. It's not going to happen. Just like I'm not going to ignore the fact that the left are ignoring the fact that we have got criminals coming into this country, unvetted.
Look, I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist, innit? Or realist. So I see the bigger picture.
We're going to get into that. I don't want to ruin it just yet. That's why I don't want to get into it right now. I kind of want to just talk about what the normie level conversation before we get into like the whole conspiratorial side of it all.
There's loads of countries doing it, man.
Yeah, I told you.
Ireland, Netherlands, Italy, Latvia.
Well, benefits and stuff, yeah. Putting up hotels and stuff.
Put them in reception centres and give them allowances.
Told you. So we're not the only ones, man.
And that's all paid for
by the taxpayer.
Wow, we got so many potholes and shit, man. It's crazy, man.
Bruv, look at my street. Yeah, right? Like, to be fair, my street ain't as bad as many.
Comes out the Home Office budget, which is funded by general taxation. Look, I don't agree with taxation. I don't think the government should have any of my money.
But listen, look, like this thing, you walk around London, right? Okay, and you can see things need to be fixed, things need to be repaired, right? They're like, freaking Birmingham aren't even collecting the bins.
Bins, innit? Literally.
Right, literally, they're just piling up and rats are everywhere.
Shithole.
All right, it's an absolute shithole.
I know, it's so bad.
It's so fucking bad, all right? But yeah, so yeah, you're right. Like, we ain't got money to pay for all of this, yeah, to be paying these 4-star, 5-star hotels.
And the Barrys, I agree, right?
And the Barrys. Look, I'm not letting Barry.
Oh, hypocrisy.
I agree.
I'm not trying
to. But it's only when I raise it, you fucking say it that. Yeah, let's get it right. Yeah, right. I disagree with all of it. Yeah, even when you I put stuff up about the immigrants. I'm like illegal immigrants. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? What is this? Yeah, you two lads though, yeah, and Waz, I know you're listening, yeah, because I know you'll be listening going like, yeah, I'm glad I dodged this, yeah, right, football and all that, whatever, bruv, yeah, all right, but here's my point, right, okay, you guys will say that, right, okay, when I bring it up, yeah, but otherwise you don't mention it, and that's what pisses me off. There is a problem and we need to start highlighting all the problems, because this one problem has been going on for fucking decades. Right now, you're right. We've got another problem, and you're right. It's throwing gasoline onto the fire, and it's making it even worse. Yeah, so we do need to stop that or get some control over it. I just don't know how you do it, but obviously we need to go
Send
through.
them back. Stop the boats. Stop paying benefits. Wish it was. Them up in a hotel.
Wish it. I don't know. I don't know where.
Get out of this human rights thing. Like it's not even.
Yeah, but then I think we're going to it. Look. I'm going to it, yeah, because obviously there's a lot of things.
I'm not trying to be insensitive or anything like that.
There's a lot to cover off, yeah. Okay, right.
I just don't trust the legitimacy.
So I want to kind of get into it, yeah. Otherwise, we're going to get lost in this specific part of the conversation and stay stuck there, right? So I think let's move on, yeah, right. Everyone knows my stance. Everyone knows your stance. All right, okay, all right. No matter what you say, yeah, I call it all out, bitch.
I call it all out too.
No, you don't. Shut the fuck up.
What did I not call out?
That's why you're sitting there laughing. That's why I wish we had a camera on Treble right now, because you would look at him and go, lying motherfucker. Yeah. All right. So what we're gonna do now? Yeah, I'm gonna play a clip. All right. And before I play this clip, shout out to the channel that I took the clip from. It's a channel called Patrick Gavia. Right. I'm a bit of a fan of this channel. It does really good documentaries on UFC fighters. So if you're a big UFC fan or MMA fan or combat sports or whatever, or you just like sports documentaries, good channel to go and check out. Has a real good couple of ones on John Jones and Daniel Cormier and their rivalry. Yeah, it's actually quite good. But shout out to him and his channel. Give it a like and share and a subscribe. But yeah, I'm going to play a video of who I would class as one of the most famous illegal immigrants in the world, or was one of the most famous illegal immigrants once upon a time. So without further ado, Francis Ngannou.
Oh yeah.
That's when I decided to leave.
But if you're in Cameroon, you just can't go to Europe by taking the front door.
You know,
so how'd you get there?
I have to use all the back doors.
And in the case of Francis, the first step is nothing less than crossing the biggest and most treacherous desert on earth.
Sahara is one of
Sahara Desert, yeah.
The Sahara Desert, and it's like one of the biggest over there. They just bring a small truck and put your baggage in it. You know, like Toyota Tacoma? Yes, it's gonna be like 25 of you guys in the back.
25 people in a Toyota Tacoma.
Yeah. Plus your luggage. So
Wow.
you are not allowed for a lot of luggage. Even water, you don't allowed for certain quantity of water because it takes space. And you are going to the desert and you have to grab the truck so hard so you get cramped. And then, but when you get cramped, you can't let him go, because if you let him go, you fall, and that's it. They won't stop. Let him go is like letting your life go. You know,
wow.
it's over if I let him go. There is not second chance. I remember there was a girl with a baby. She couldn't do it anymore. She just wanted to throw the baby away.
Oh my
like
God.
this how hard it was. Like she couldn't do it, and you can't blame her. The guy just kept holding the baby to take the baby from her. Like
We can hear the agonizing wails of another woman and go to speak to her.
I heard you crying.
Her name is Olabisi. 2 of her 4 children, it seems, were on another truck. They are the older ones, ages just 9 and 11.
That's my kid. I put her to death there.
and they have to hide from like radars, because sometimes they are like helicopter flying up there looking, checking if there's something going on, because they know that there's a lot of traffic there, not only immigrant, but only like guns and drugs and everything, so they always flying there. You have to be lucky so the car don't break up in the middle of the trip, because if the car break up in the middle of the trip, most of the time it's over.
What happens then?
Well, guess what?
Yeah.
You guys might just die.
The migrants have been stranded here for 3 days after their truck broke down. There are about 30 in all, left to die.
At the daytime, it's like 150 degrees. Nighttime, he drops to like maybe 20 degrees. It's crazy. You're gonna cross a mafia and all those people across the road. You're gonna get robbed, every kind of shit. So you better don't have all your money on you. If you don't get killed, or if you don't kill yourself by taking some risk.
One of the women starts praying under her breath.
Jesus.
A single sentence, over and over.
Even before the middle of the trip, the water is finished. Nobody has water anymore. And these people, they don't give a shit. They just want to drive from this point to this point. So you get dehydrated at the point that you're not sweating anymore. Is it like oil on your face? At some point, we have like a dome of sand. So you have to rub your face and everything, because the sun is just like, you go through all this stuff. And we found a water well, and it was so dirty with dead animal in it, bird, everything. If I don't drink this water, I'm not lasting long.
So you drank it.
So you drink it. You kind of like take the water, put it in the bottle, leave your shirt, and use your shirt as a filter. Drink the water. That's where you kind of like start to understand what you put yourself into. It's just the beginning.
Yeah.
So here's the good news. I didn't know that, but there's actually 2 Spanish territories in Morocco. That means you don't actually need to cross to Spain to get to Spain. You just need to get inside those cities. And to do so, you actually need to climb the fence that surrounds the cities, or to swim from shore to shore. But that's easier said than done.
Sometimes we live in the forest, hiding for the cops, trying to cross the border to go to Spain.
Before and in between attempts to cross over, migrants were groups in the forest surrounding those cities, where they face an entirely different kind of reality.
Get cold all the time, no clothes, no food.
The cops raid the forest on a weekly basis. They steal your money, vandalize your stuff, and are physically abusive to men and women.
But when they take your money, they don't care about all those. They just want to take whatever they can take.
So you had to swallow your money.
Yeah, you swallow your money.
And then find it later.
Find it later. You had to.
Right, I get it.
Like at this point, it's a matter of surviving. And it was.
Did you have food?
No, sometimes we have to go find food in the trash, you know. Sometimes arguing with rat in the trash, like, hey, get away of these tomatoes. It's mine.
Man.
This rotted tomatoes is mine, not yours. You know. Go back in the forest, figure out how to cook that in the aluminum bucket or something.
The first way to get to the city is by climbing over the 11 miles fence that surrounds it. But calling it a fence is an oversimplification. It's a series of fences. The first one is 20 foot high. The second one has a flexible top, leading you straight into the barbed wire netting sitting at the bottom of it. The third fence is the highest yet, with more barbed wire waiting for you along with the civil guard, standing before a 2x4 meters ditch leading to a double fence topped with more barbed wires. So let me ask you, what would you go for? Fence or water? Francis chose the fence.
About 11 miles of fence will protect the island. It's small. I went to the fence, look at the fence like this. Man, the barbed wire was just on it like this. There's my life behind them, my future.
Right.
Man, I'm taking my chance. The first time I get caught, very caught, I was bleeding all over my hands, my feet, because I fell into it. I can't stay there. If those guys caught me there, they're probably gonna kill me.
How long were you in Morocco for?
1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Because every time that you attend, if you fail, they're gonna bring you back in the south, in the desert, and throw you guys there.
Disorientated and dehydrated, these migrants have just been deported. The nearest village is a 15-kilometer walk in the Sahara Desert, and they have no food or water.
So when you fail, you gotta go through the same cycle over and over again.
Instead of like thinking of going back to the fence, you're like, okay, let me go try in the water.
This young man's dream of a better life in Europe ended before it began. His body washed up on the shores of Ceuta, a Spanish enclave on Morocco's Mediterranean coast.
You guys have to collect money to buy a boat to ram. Just a small one, the one that they use in the swimming pool. I count the wave like 1, 2, 3, because most of the time it's like 3 waves. And the third one will be the biggest one. The first one came, it was still okay. Second one, as much as we are going in the water, it get deeper and deeper. Then the third wave came, that was like something that you see in the movie.
No. Just smashed you.
We fell in the water, no paddle. I hold my boat. I'm like, I trust myself. I trust my boat. This is my life. I'm not letting this go. I'm dying with it. I hold it like this. I saw this thing came. I'm like, put my head in the water, hold my boat like this, and it came through like boom, on top of me. Scream like, what the hell is this? When we get in the boat, we find out that there are 2 of us missing. Basically those with the paddle. How do we gonna paddle without paddle?
Right.
The guy was like, listen, we're gonna paddle with our hands. I'm like, okay, this guy might be stupid or something. Like people die in the world, in the ocean, paddling with the real paddle, and we are just gonna paddle with our hands. How crazy is that? Man, for real? I'm gonna die just like this? My family don't even know They won't even see my body, man.
Ouais, maman, il dit, il sait pas. Maman, c'est dans le... Tu es dans la chambre, tu es chez toi ici.
When you got on that Red Cross boat and you knew,
I realized he was April 3rd, and I left Cameroon April 3rd, 1 year ago.
wow,
1 year
one
anniversary.
long journey.
2013, 7 years ago, we were freed by the Spanish Homeland Security after spending 2 months in jail for illegally entering on European soil by sea. I had nothing by then but a dream and a faith of pursuing it. Okay, that was intense.
Okay, once again, shout out to the channel Patrick Gavia, who produced that documentary on Francis Ngannou. And obviously, I just clipped a bit of it where he talks about his journey from Cameroon to Morocco, and then obviously on into Spain and into Europe. And then later on down the line, he ended up in France, which the story, if you go and listen to the story, it's an inspirational story of a kid trying to make a better life for himself and his mother. If you see the kind of world he came from, I mean, didn't have proper clothing, shoes, you know, the usual stuff that you hear. Yeah, couldn't go to school. They threw him out of school simply because he didn't have pens or pencils and paper. That's the kind of life he was coming from, right? And then he started working from a very young age. You know, just I can't remember. The Sandmans or what it was, which was insane.
Sand, yeah.
But look, shout out to them, and I highly recommend everyone go and check that out. So this is where the bit where everyone says, "We're the women, we're the children," right? There's a reason why elderly don't travel. There's a reason why women don't travel. There's a reason why children don't travel. Okay, taking that trip, you heard that woman about the woman who had the baby. And she was so close to actually throwing her baby off the truck. She got to the point of that sort of desperation. Imagine a mother getting to that point where she's like, well, one of us got to go, either me or the baby. And then another man grabbed the child and said, I'll hold the baby. Hang in there kind of thing. And that's quite an upsetting story to see, yeah? Don't get me wrong, right? But that's just me painting that picture where everyone always says, where's the women, where's the children? There's your answer. It can be a perilous journey. It's a dangerous journey. Not only are they fighting against nature out there, they're also fighting against the gangsters, the mafia, right? So you can imagine what they probably do with some of the women. You can easily grab those women, start human trafficking them, taking the kids, human trafficking them. So they don't make that journey for a reason. So hopefully, I'm hoping that educates a few people about a few things about this whole, where are the men, where are the women? Traditionally, like I've worked in management 25 years, right? And one thing I love about my job is that I get to meet people from different backgrounds and stuff like that. And over the years, I've met a lot of people who have migrated to this country, all right? And then I used to have a warehouseman in the warehouse I used to manage once for a company. And I asked one of the guys back doorman, and I said to him, like, are you here alone? He started talking about his family. Like, oh, well, all right. Because my family are back home in Ghana. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll go. And he used to work 2 jobs. He used to work in the warehouse in the morning, 6 till 2, and then go home, get a bit of kip, and go and bounce at a bar or a club or whatever, right? And all his money would go back home for his kids, right? The family doesn't necessarily come with you. Now, some people do come across, and then what they do is later on down the line, they then start working on bringing their family across. So it's not necessarily that the men come to settle themselves first. Once they've settled themselves, then they bring the families across. That's how it works. So just a bit of insight. Now,
and what's the families like? What's the family's life living over there? Let me just say as well that was very intense.
Yeah, it was intense. I saw your face. You sat there going like, shit, that's a journey, man. That's a crazy journey. It's not a walk in the park, guys. Like everyone thinks, and this is all about like, this is why I always do my research, because I'm not going to comment on something without looking into it a little bit. And like when I watched that, I was like, what? Like, wow. And I remember, like, how do I put this forward to not just you and Waz, but like to everyone to get to understand why the women and children don't come.
But what's the women and children doing back home then?
Surviving. Trying to survive as best as they can, isn't it? Back home. Remember, like, we're going to go into it because obviously there's other questions you and Waz put frequently. That's just one of them. I'm going to go through a lot of stuff, right? But one thing is for sure, right? Okay, if you're wondering why a lot of the women and children don't come across, that's why. Listen, that kid is like, where's my mum? And then the other lady, who he probably doesn't even know, to be honest with you, she's in the water. Meaning she's gone. She's deleted. Bye. No more mummy. You know, and that kid, how is he going to end up in Europe? Will that woman take care of him? Will he end up in care? Is he going to end up being like? Do you get what I mean? Like, there's a massive risk, and I think it's eye opening to see the other side of it, and to hear it from someone like Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to use. And I remember, like, how am I going to put this forward to everyone? And I thought, oh shit, yeah, I remember that documentary I saw with the Francis Ngannou. Perfect. So that's why I went and clipped this. Because to hear it from someone like that telling you, who's been through it, who's seen it, and he's describing to you what it's like, I dare you to go up and tell him he's lying to his face or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, the man's been through it, so he's telling you exactly what he's been through.
What is going on in Cameroon, for example? Obviously, he's from Cameroon, so...
Poverty.
As a result of...
As a result of Western control. You know that.
So... Why can't
there's a reason why
why can't we boost and develop the country there as opposed to importing them over?
Because the power dynamics changed. There's a reason why Gaddafi was taken out, bruv. What was Gaddafi trying to do? The main thing, gold dinar. What was the gold dinar? Was going to be a single African continent currency. They were all signing up to it. They all thought, wow, this is going to change. This is going to turn Africa into a superpower. But the Americans understood that the problem with Gaddafi was he didn't keep his mouth shut about things. He boasted about it too much. You do things like that, you do it quietly, yeah, and you try and make sure the Americans and the Europeans don't hear about it. They heard about it and they thought, can't have this. It's like Saddam Hussein, right? I know we did the Stargate thing, but Saddam Hussein decided that he's not going to sell oil in US dollars anymore. He was going to do it in euros. What did that trigger?
Yeah, you're going to push you off a building, innit?
Yeah, along come the Americans, right? And the Brits are going to come with them as well. So yeah, like, colonial rule has not ended. It's just evolved. They do it from a distance now, and it's done through finance and control.
I just feel like there's got to be a better way.
Through loaning systems where the World Bank, which is controlled by the West.
But this is the thing, now you're looking at from the bigger picture, which is obviously, we can narrow it down to even higher than just the countries and look at a certain demographic that runs the countries, or the trillionaire families that run the real wealth, and target the super elites that are actually orchestrating this whole game. I get that, but I'm watching a video like that, which is intense, is probably an understatement. You can't help but watch that and feel like, what the.
Yeah, you can't help but not feel for them. Like, I felt for them when I watched it. I was like, wow, okay.
But to go to those extremes, there's got to be a better way, surely. There's got to be a way that foreign aid can help develop these countries and stuff. Well, what are we paying foreign aid for then?
Foreign aid isn't for foreign aid. Foreign aid is to control the governments that they put in place.
Right, but that's what I'm trying to say about these liberals that keep on talking about, immigrants welcome. Well, why not actually use that money and develop the countries that they're coming from?
The whole idea of foreign aid is, right, the foreign aid goes into the country. It doesn't go where it needs to go. The real purpose is, you know what? I feel like foreign aid's like a weird way of laundering your money
fully
to the elite establishment in that country that you've put in place and put into power.
Yeah.
So the West put these guys into power. These guys don't really care about their people. They just care about being rich, and they have a nice fat Swiss bank account. Do you get it?
Yep.
The minute they get too big for their boots, they take them out of power. You look at it throughout history, you look at Idi Amin in Uganda. Got two British put him in place, but then when he got too big for his boots, the British took him out of place and put someone else in place. You know what I mean? They'll just keep changing it. They just keep changing the power dynamics, whoever's in charge. And it's always someone that's suited to them. And that's how it works.
See, I don't want to come across as insensitive because obviously when you watch something like that, we are humans at the end of the day. And we, like you say, about we only follow the God, the creator. And at the end of the day, it's all about loving one another and all that stuff. And I do believe that and I do agree with that. I'm not going to try and knock anyone who's trying to make a better life for themselves. But I just got to feel like there's got to be a better way than to go through a year of potential death and coyotes.
Sometimes it's longer than that.
And even longer than that. And even then, you either got to go climb a barbed wired fence or go into the ocean. And
I remember what Patrick said in there. He goes, if you fail and you get deported or you get chucked back into the Sahara Desert, you have to survive that desert, get back home and start again.
And I just think, there's got to be a better way. I would look. How much are we spending, for example, on the hotels and the allowances, and how much money is coming out of the Home Office budget?
But you got to understand.
Why not just send that to?
So look, you got to understand the world of politics, right? Okay, how this all works. They can never allow Africa to get enriched.
But Africa is rich.
But they can never allow, rich in resources that they control at a penny.
Nigeria's got like a billionaire's row.
Yeah, but those are the elite people who are going to be allowed to do that.
But this is my problem. This is what I'm trying to say. There is the elite in Africa that are corrupt. The politicians in there that are corrupt. So Africa has this systemic corruption, and as a result, the lowest economic status people have to migrate through the most horrible means to get to Europe, and as a result, put a strain. I don't want to use the word burden in this case because obviously that sounds a bit harsh, but put a strain on the current system that the European countries have put in place because of the corruption in Africa or the corruption in the Middle East or wherever the host nations that they're coming from. Is that right? Is that fair? It's not.
Listen, the world isn't fair, but the world isn't about fair, right? The world is about dominance, right? And when you control, and you know what? The next episode we definitely need to do is definitely Cold Case Amasak review of that documentary, which is about HIV, right? Because that's an interesting one as well, right? And it will show you when one man stands up to break this system that we currently still have when it comes to Africa and third world countries like India and places like that. And I don't care what everyone will say. India's a developing country. No, it's not. Shut up. Go and have a look at some of the footage of they've got a space program, their rivers, and go and have a look. Yeah, exactly.
They landed on the moon. Exactly. Believe in that.
Exactly. but it's not developing. I don't care what anyone says. You go and look at it. Like it's disgusting, mate. Yeah. And end of the day, what I was going to say then.
Wait, are you saying that it's still a developing country?
I still feel it is.
It isn't. It isn't.
It's a very poverty. It's a very. I think in some.
You have the.
I think it's. I don't think it's developed. I still think it's very much a third world country.
It is a third world country in the sense that you have the extremes of the slums and the poverty, but developing in the sense that they have multinational billionaire corporations and
but that
defines a third world country in that sense.
But you look at our own countries, right? We have multinational billionaire countries. You look at America as well.
You can argue the UK is a third world country by that sense.
But my point being, you're missing the point. You're talking about the dream world. We don't live in a dream world.
What's a third world country to you?
We don't live in a dream world, right? Okay, we're not. This is the point that you're missing completely. You're living at, why can't we do this? It's not work that way. It doesn't work that way. They want to keep that resource nice and cheap. Yeah, and they don't ever want Africa to get on her feet. Because if Africa got on her feet, she would become the new superpower of the world and the West will lose it all. And when I mean the West, I mean the elites in the West who run the world. They don't want to lose that power. It's that simple.
Isn't China buying out Africa though?
They're not. I don't know whether it's not necessarily
not buying them out.
Not buying them out. They're building
their infrastructure.
But China and Russia are doing that to counter the West. Yeah, because there's a power struggle. There's a power
like Africa's got
game going on. There's a power game going over here. So they've used they're exploiting them in their own way, but they're doing it in a very smart way, which is we are your partners. We will help you build infrastructure. we'll do this, we'll do that.
Develop the
But
country.
what they're actually doing is
Nation.
they're planting their own military bases and their own. Do you get what I mean? In places that have been dominated by Europe and America.
Wait, okay.
So it's a chess game.
Back to the India thing. What is your definition of a third world country or a developing country?
Where poverty is out of control to the point where you look at the pictures, yeah, all right, where disease spreads easily, yeah, all right, people are living in shit, piss, yeah, can't get clean water, can't get food, can't clothe themselves, can't work enough hours to actually provide their family with a decent life. That's where poverty is like way out of control. There's nothing compared to what's here, basically. Here is like a walk in the park. And that's not me trying to be disrespectful to people who are suffering in poverty in this country. They are. But when you compare the two, nowhere near each
But again,
other.
is that not because of the size, the population numbers? Because you can't deny that India does have extremely wealthy people. They also do have government programs that, you know, as I said, they landed on the moon supposedly. So they've got a space program. UK doesn't even have a space program. So what's the definition of developing country? I think India is probably already breaking that barrier a little bit.
Maybe a little bit, but
yes, of course they got the extremes.
But if your society as a whole isn't coming along with you, then how can you class yourself as still? How do you get out of that third world slum situation?
So it's China a third world country?
And what they do? No.
Is Pakistan a third world country?
Yes.
Okay.
Go look at some of the streets in Pakistan.
I had a colleague show me his little town in Pakistan. It looked better than any city I've seen in the UK.
So some of the footage I've seen. Go to the main cities.
Okay, but you can't deny the fact that they've got some really nice places too. So, and he even said to me, he showed me the pictures, like, this is my place. And honestly, you could mistake it for something like Monaco. And he was like, does this look like it's poor to you? I was like, shit, where's this? He's like, this is Pakistan, man. And you got the mountain range in the background. I was like, this place is looking...
Yeah, but then explain all those slums, like you look at Kolkata and places like that, and do you know what I mean? And look at it. It's a fucking dog pit, man. You look at some places in Africa, dog shit, aren't they?
Yeah, but what we were talking about, Birmingham's a little shithole now at the moment with the bins, and you can go to the rundown seaside towns that are all boarded up.
If you're not walking around with shoes and you kind of walk around with shoes and clothes and stuff like that, like what kind of like
levels?
There's levels to poverty, man.
Yeah, I agree. There's levels.
I don't understand what point you're making either.
I'm just trying to say that
they can't make it in their own country. They can't make it in their own country. They can't. Go and have a real good look at it. Go travel there. Stop going to Japan and places like that and go to those places. There's a reason why there's Red Cross and all these charities in those countries. There's a reason for it.
Okay.
Yeah? You're trying to say like they can make it in their own country. They can't. That's why they come over it. You just listen to a man saying, no, I couldn't make it in my own country. That's why I had to do this, what I had to do.
Oh, yeah, about the whole...
Yeah. Like, you can't turn around and say that. Because you're dismissive of what's going on in those countries then.
Yeah. Okay, look.
Go to Afghanistan. Does it look like most of those guys are living rich? I doubt it.
Okay, what about Nepal? What was a country
Nepal's not necessarily rich either.
But
that's why they come over here.
Define it on the happiness index, and they're like the happiest country in the world.
Maybe.
So...
But then why do they come here? For a better life?
It's crazy. I don't know. It's a weird... It's a complex issue. It's a complex topic.
That's what I said to you. Like, I don't think it's as straightforward as you're making it out to be, man. And when governments are designed to keep majority of the population, you've got to keep majority of the population desperate and needing for work and money. That's what you're going to do, aren't you? You may have a few rich people. You might have a percentage of people rich and wealthy, and they might be able to build a nice neighborhood and an infrastructure and a nice little looking city. But then how many of them are not living that way? 80% of them? 70% of them?
Yeah, I guess the poverty is really high.
Yeah.
Per capita.
And if that's happening, you're keeping them in the state of desperation, which means that they are working for peanuts. They might be doing 12-hour days, 14, 15, 16-hour days. How do we get all these products for cheap over here? Because we're exploiting labor in India, Bangladesh, in Africa. And then China outsources their own on a cheap as well. But at least we're trying to, like, from what I understand, trying to make it affordable for you to still be able to live a decent life, even if you are on no special. I know Waz doesn't agree with that, yeah. If you say, nah, that's not true. It is, man. You see these YouTubers who are doing these videos and stuff like that, and they're like, they actually go and talk to them, and they're like, yeah, you can live a pretty good life. Like, your groceries here, like people who have moved to China, like your groceries here, you can get more bang for your buck, basically, here than you would out in the US, for example, or the UK.
Yeah.
So yes, you might be on a low income, but your cost of living style, you could still afford a lot. So yeah,
all the elite salt though. That's the real.
What do I keep telling you? You don't listen.
But I know that.
You don't listen.
I know it.
You don't listen. But we're gonna go into this because there's other questions that you and Waz always have. So let's get into that. Yeah. All right. So the other question that you guys all and a lot of people say is like, why don't they just fly in? Yeah. Why do they take this perilous, this dangerous trip? Yeah. Which could lead them 9 times out of 10 to death.
Yeah. Why
don't they just fly in? All right.
Question.
There's a reason for that. Okay. I'm going to go for it. Ready?
Go on then.
All right, cool. All right. So ChatGPT gave me this information, right? First of all, number one, they need a visa to board a plane. Yeah. Airlines are legally required to check passengers' travel documents before boarding. If someone's from Afghanistan, Sudan, Eritrea, doesn't have a UK visa, the airline will refuse them because the airline will be fined and forced to return with them.
And how do they get a visa?
Visa applications are often rejected. Okay, people fleeing war, persecution, or poverty rarely meet the strict requirements for visitors, work, or study visas. The UK doesn't issue asylum visas. You must already be in the UK to claim asylum.
So the UK is not taking people's visas, but if you get here illegally, then you're all of a sudden welcome. Is that
literally because you're
that's the system?
Yeah.
Is that a good system in your opinion?
Yeah, of course it's not, but it's the system, bro. That's the system. That's the system.
System, bro.
All right. Okay. Airports have tight border controls. Even if someone brought a ticket, they'd be stopped at passport control in their departure country if they lack the right documentation. The UK border force in airports is harder to bypass than slipping through a coastal line at night. Okay. Smuggling networks are set up for land-sea routes. Criminal gangs controlling migration routes make most of their money from boat crossings or lorry smuggling. These routes are costly but avoid immediate detection airports provide. It's about possibility, not comfort. For many, the dangerous channel crossing isn't the first choice. It's the only option by exhausting all legal and easier paths. What do you think so far?
Why can't... So what documentation do they have?
Why can't
they get documentation? I'm not against... Look,
they need a visa. They won't get a visa. So basically, if you're coming from Afghanistan, for example, right? The UK knows it's pretty much a war-torn country. Yeah? So if you're coming across here, you probably can't speak English. You can't do nothing. Yeah? And they're thinking, well, we don't want that here because at the end of the day, we're going to have to stop using taxpayers' money to you get it?
Yeah.
But now when they land on your shore illegally, they seek asylum and you're like, great, now we're stuck with these guys and because we're signed up to certain legalities, international law and humanitarian rights and all that stuff, we have to help them out because they're out now on our shores. They're on our soil. It's complex, man. It's like, it's crazy.
Complex indeed.
Yeah. All right. So here's the next question, right? That you and Waz always bang on about, right? How do they afford to pay for this?
Yep.
Where do they get the money from? Okay. Now, I always understood that there was a debt system set up with the smugglers.
Yeah.
But I didn't quite understand how it worked. So again, reached out to ChatGPT, my mate, and I said, look, break that down for me. How does that actually work? Is there a debt system or do they have the money to do this? Because if they have the money for it, you and Waz are right? Like, you can't be poor if you've got 7,000 to 15,000 K to pay for this trip, which is how much it roughly costs. Okay, a lot of people wonder that. The short answer is they often don't pay it all themselves. Here's how it usually works. Family and community pooling money. Sometimes an entire extended family sells land, livestock, and valuables to fund one person's journey. The idea is that the person who reaches the UK will later send money back. Loans from smugglers or migration brokers. Smuggling networks often let migrants travel on credit. The debt is repaid once they find work abroad, sometimes under the threat to family members back home. So basically, if you were making this trip, you would then agree when you get there, you're going to start paying the smugglers back. So you would have to be still in contact with
But this
them.
is what we're encouraging crime, basically.
Yeah. Stop for a second, man. Let me finish before we get into all this, man. You're just butting into it. Right. You would then agree this with some smugglers, you'll start paying back once you get yourself settled, right? Once you get yourself settled. And if you don't, then the smugglers start basically turn around and tell you, listen, you better start paying up or we're going to start offing your family one by one. Back home. Get it? So smuggling. This game has always been criminal. You're talking about criminality, but it's always been involved.
Why are we supporting, in a sense, criminal activity?
Anyway,
if there is legal channels, there is legal alternatives.
Let me get. There aren't no legal channels. That's the point.
There. You can get resettlement and humanitarian visa schemes. There's other. But
a lot of those get turned
systems.
Down. They get turned down.
Why do they get turned down?
Because of the country they're from.
What? Because they're not actually in a war, or what?
They could be from a impoverished country. They could be from a country that. What's your purpose for coming to our country? Is what basically what the criteria is. It's like Canada, right? Years ago, Canada's changed now a little bit, right? But years ago when my sister moved over there, right? If you wanted to migrate over there, you had to have a skill set, a trade skill set that the country requires. So maybe you might be a plumber, qualified plumber, electrician. Do you get what I mean? Yeah, maybe you're a data analysis, maybe you're an IT tech, maybe you're a mechanic. Do you get what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're adding value. So there were some strict policies in place. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure they took their refugees and stuff in. But if you and I wanted to migrate over there, I'm sure we'd have to meet a certain criteria. All right. Next bit. Work along the way. Have you heard this one? So migrants may stop in countries like Libya, Turkey, and Italy to work months, often illegally, before continuing. Jobs can be farm labor, construction, or even labor arranged by the smugglers to cover the travel costs. Partial payments at each stage. The journey isn't always one big payment. It can be split into segments, e.g. 1,000 to cross the desert, 3,000 to get from Turkey to France, 2,000 for the Channel crossing. Selling everything.
That's a lot of money, though. You're talking euros or pounds and stuff. Mate,
US dollars usually.
US dollars. You can work here and still not have that kind of money. So where are they getting that money from? And surely money not enough?
No.
Devil's advocate here.
No, they haven't got the money. I just explained it to you.
Oh, and then they work along.
So I would go. I would pay. I will say I'm from say I'm from Cameroon. Yeah, right. I'll pay 1,000. I'll save up some 1,000 US dollars worth, and I said to the smuggler, "Get me across the Sahara." He gets me across the Sahara. All right. Then I get to Morocco, and I think, well, now I need money to get into Europe or whatever it is. Maybe I need to take another route or get a boat or whatever it is. Yeah. Now I've got to pay, for example, another $3,000 for that because the smuggler in Morocco charges more than the guy who took me across the Sahara. I'm now going to work in Morocco illegally to make that money and then give it to the smuggler to get me across. Then I get to France, for example. I'm just making shit up here, but just to give an idea. Right, damn, now I need another 2,000 euros or whatever US to make this trip across the channel. Yeah. Now I'm going to work for some farmer or something like that, or someone illegal, or even for the smugglers doing illegal shit. Here you go. I've made my money. I paid you your debt. Can you take me across now? Yeah. So time to go. So they don't actually have the money. They work for it as they make the journey.
And why is the UK the final destination for the majority of them?
Well, maybe you should find that out in a minute, innit? Yeah. Selling everything, yeah? Many literally liquidate everything they own, homes, jewelry, tools, even furniture to make the journey, which is crazy, right? It says it's worth noting that even poor countries, there can be huge wealth gaps. So the migrants you hear about might not be the very poorest in the village, but rather the ones whose families can scrape together enough for for the chance to cross. Yeah. What else was there? That's it for now, really. But hold on. What do you think so far? Because there's another bit, because it gives me a breakdown from like leaving Sudan and stuff like that.
Look, I mean, I always have to put this caveat.
Did you get it?
I do get it, and I do empathize on a humanitarian level that, you know, people come in try and make a better life is, you know, who am I to say that they shouldn't or can't do that? But just playing devil's advocate, though, I just have to feel like there's got to be a better way than to risk so much and to go through that. Obviously, I can't. I've never been in that situation. I don't understand the levels of poverty that people are going through.
I think it's easy for us to discuss it here.
Yeah, and it's easy to say that when, you know, we got a job and we got vehicles and we get 3 meals a day. I get that. It's easy to say, oh, they shouldn't do that journey. But I just got to feel like there's got to be a better way. What is the point of all these, you know, the liberals and stuff, or saying, oh, or these humanitarian laws that they put in place that say that you're allowed to go. Humanitarian laws to say that they can come here and claim refuge. Why not use that law and actually improve the quality of life over there?
And this is the hypocrisy I have of the left, right? So as much as I'm hypocritical of the right, which I've already stated on why I'm so hypocritical of the right, I'm hypocritical of the left as well, because you're right. Why are you only protesting when the right stand up and start doing stuff like this? Why are you not protesting all year round, saying, hold on, help those countries to get better?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Why are you not applying pressure as a lefty, and a lib, to go out there and say, protest against your government and say, no, you need to do more. Stop. They don't want to leave their country. Let's be honest. Who wants to leave their homeland, right?
That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
who really wants to leave their homeland, right? People generally love their homeland and want to stay there. It's normal. It's comfortable. It's where their family is. It's where their traditions are and everything like that. So how about you help them build a better infrastructure within their country so they don't have to come here?
That's my point.
But you're right. And you're absolutely right. I don't think you ever usually word things right. Yeah. So I'm going to word it for you. Right. But yeah, I'm critical of that as well. Like if you, as a lefty, if you're as a liberal, if you stop saying they're welcome here, immigrants are welcome. Ain't got it's not about whether they're welcome or not. Right. It's about why are they leaving? You're right. Why are they leaving? And what can we do to resolve that problem in their own country? What do we have? We give foreign aid. Where does the foreign aid? You should be challenging. Where does the foreign aid go?
Where's the money going?
Yeah, you and I know where the money goes. Between us, Treble, we know where it goes. It's corruption, right? So we're controlling the elites in that country to keep everything cheap and keep everyone poor and keep the labor cheap as well. So the power stays in the West. Right, we understand that, but the normal person out there, we said that to them right now, they call us idiots, even though they're the idiots, right? But you're right to question that as well. You're absolutely spot on right to question that, because to make it out like it's just the right aren't asking the right questions or challenging or are being hypocritical, the left are hypocritical as well, because you're not putting enough pressure on your government to do more to help those countries that we exploit for their resources, so you can have your smartphone. I'm talking to the lefty, your smartphone, your Gucci bag and your freaking shoes and your nights out and whatever and your holidays and all that sort of stuff. The life you're living right now, Mr. Lefty and Mrs. Lefty, is provided by that cheap resource and that cheap labor from Africa, from India and all those other countries. And why are you not putting more pressure on the government to actually first stop exploiting it, to help allow them to build their own infrastructure in a place where their people don't have to flee those lands? So you're spot on. And you're wasting money on wars in places like Ukraine and stuff like that. Meanwhile, you've got all these civil wars that keep kicking off in South Africa, which we never hear about enough, right? Like, look at Sudan and Congo right now, right? Which Trump has now kind of got them to like, wait, ease off, right? But that's what you kind of need to see more. Don't get me wrong, yeah, right? The US is benefiting from that as well, right? Because they're going to get resources out of it, right? And he's openly admitted that, right? So he's more for his country's benefit than it is for theirs. But peace equals him be able to exploit that country the way he wants to, right? And I'm not stupid to that, right? People can sing his praises as much as you want, but I knew what he was doing. I know as if he was sitting right now, he'd be trying to sing his praises. No, he's not. Yeah, he's doing it so he could get that cheap labor, get that cheap resource, and it can go to America and empower America. Because right now there's a power, what's the word, struggle. Is the right word, between China and America, who are probably the biggest powerhouses in the country on the planet right now. And he's trying to do everything he can to make America more powerful, and hold on to the power that they've always had. So again, that's a great example of someone going in there and saying, "Yeah, I look at this. Look at this great thing I've done. I've created peace between these two in these two countries. And by the way, we're going to get some real, rare material resourcing rights, and we're going to start digging here. And you're right. And it's all going to be cheap, and it's not going to cost you, the taxpayer, anything." Do you get it? And we're guilty of that because instead of saying, "Well, hold on, why is it not costing us anything? Are you exploiting these people over there?" We don't ever ask that question. So you're right to put it on the libs.
But conversely, it's, as I said, look, like you just said, these liberals aren't protesting the fact that the humanitarian laws aren't working in their own countries. But then how many people, for example, again, playing devil's advocate here, I'm not trying to be insensitive, I'm just trying to, raise the question. This is what we're doing here on this podcast. We're just having an open conversation, and maybe it's
thought-provoking. It's supposed to be.
Right? How many people, for example, have fled Cameroon? We saw thousands of people making that crossing, yeah? Why can't those people protest their own country? Imagine if 1,000 people or 10,000 people who wanted to flee stood up to the government on an international global stage.
I get what you're saying, but I don't necessarily think they've got the rights we have out here. Like, if we protest, right? Yeah, the police can't come out and start shooting us.
Is that what they would do over there? Yeah, but then, if this is all on the news, then the liberals have to say something, right?
But the thing is, here's the point. That does happen out there. We just don't see it.
But this is where people wearing free Palestine badges and free Gaza and all of this.
Let's be honest. How many people really knew what was going on in Sudan and Congo before Trump really stepped in and made his deal?
Not a clue, to be honest.
Did you know? I didn't really know. I heard whimpers. I'm not gonna lie. I'm guilty of it as well. I heard whimpers of it. I heard little the civil war. Whatever. I don't even know the ins and outs of it or how it triggered and what was the reason behind it and what was it religious? What was it? I don't even know. But it's been going on long enough. How many people? You look at Myanmar, who used to be formerly known as Burma. Well, I think what do they have their civil war for, like 40 years? Now it's under a dictatorship or something like that, and it's not great out there. So it's like, how many of us know that? We don't hear about it because our news outlets here don't report it.
Fake news.
And why do they not report it? Because the government tells them don't report it.
Fake news.
We know that though.
Yeah, it's fake news.
We know that.
But then this is where I'm saying again the hypocrisy from the liberals is why is the liberals not going to be kicking up a storm about it? Like I said about the Israel situation is very controversial in itself. I get that. I'm not trying to speak on that because we're talking about something else. But look, people are walking around with free Palestine badges and free Gaza and t-shirts, and I've got colleagues wearing it and all that. Fine. If that's what you believe and you want to support, great. Stand up for something, protest, whatever. You got that freedom. But what about all these countries that the influx of migrants that we're talking about, for example, all the other civil wars that are going on, all the other thousands of, and I'm going to use the word genocide, the actual real people getting murdered by the tens of thousands in Africa and in the Middle East, whatever countries, and I don't hear any of that.
Yeah.
Don't hear any of that.
You're true. It's right, though. You're right. I'm not
and then when they flee that country and then they come over to the UK, of course they're going to piss off a certain group of people who feel like there's an invasion almost, or they feel like they're taking on an extra burden that doesn't seem like they didn't want that, for lack of better words. And the liberals are now going to pin it on the people who have that view, as opposed to actually challenging the real issue and the home nation. And I just think that it's all corrupt, isn't it?
It's all corrupt. It can't be denied. Yeah, right? We know that. Come on, man. We know how the system works. Yeah, it's all corrupt. It's all fucked up. Yeah, all right. But then there's certain things. It's like no one really is taking responsibility, although they think they are. Is how I feel. Yeah, I don't feel the right's taking enough responsibility for what the problems we have in our own country. Yeah, within our own society, within our own homegrown, with what I spoke about earlier and we talked about earlier. I don't think the libs are taking enough responsibility to holding the politicians to account for the things that are happening and the atrocities that are happening in other countries, which our government has put in place by design to control those countries and their natural resource. And I think both sides aren't holding the government to account. Like, you're all at each other's throat, but how about you focus on the people that are really causing the problem, and that's the people we put in power to run our country. To run our country. That's the way I look at it. I don't disagree with anything you're saying there.
Yeah, so I mean, like, look, I started the podcast episode saying, yeah, we've got to stop the boats, this and that, but I understand it's a more complex issue, and
you can't just stop the boats, man.
No,
it's just not going to happen like that. You know, you're never gonna get it.
All right, but I got another question then. Do you think that there is a different, because it's easy to look at that video, for example, with Ngannou coming from Cameroon and the other migrants that he was traveling with, and looking at the hardship that they've come through, but then we can't say that all the migrants are in that same position where they really are fleeing from. Some of them are coming on with their smartphones and just like laughing about it almost.
No. So I'm going to play you another clip, yeah? All right, okay. Let me play another clip. Have you ever heard of the gang called the Albanians?
Albanians?
Yeah.
No, but
Albanian gang here in the UK. Right, so let's play another clip of another way they get people into the country, and this is like how they get Albanians into the country. Yeah, so we'll play this clip because I do want to play it because I think it's important. It's another way of doing things. Yeah, again, criminal organisations who are profiting and, you know, I suppose gaining more power and influence themselves through these methods. Yeah, but yeah, it's fucked up. But we'll play the clip and then we'll carry on. Yeah.
Yep.
From local addicts or from young people drawn into dealing flows upward into the criminal coffers and often overseas. And there's another dark side. These networks exploit vulnerable communities at every step of their operation, both in the UK and back in their homeland. Consider the pipeline that brings an Albanian gang member from a village in the Balkans to a street corner in London. It often starts with a lie. In remote towns of Albania, where jobs are scarce and hope even scarcer, whispers spread of opportunities in England. Sometimes it's a local fixer, maybe someone who himself spent time in Britain, who tells impressionable young men that they can make a fortune across the channel. In recent years, this recruitment has gone digital. On TikTok and other social media, flashy videos targeted at Albanian youth have glorified the journey to the UK. One clip that circulated showed a small boat speeding across a choppy sea toward the white cliffs of Dover, emblazoned with the caption, "Fuck school, let's take the boat to England." It's a brazen marketing ploy by the smugglers. Ditch your humble life, come get rich in the land of opportunity. What they don't advertise is the price of the trip, often thousands of pounds, and the strings attached. By 2022, an unprecedented number of Albanians were appearing on England's southern shores in flimsy inflatable boats, part of the wider migrant crisis. Many were immediately claiming asylum, citing persecution or danger back home. While some of those claims were genuine, Albania has issues like blood feud violence, domestic abuse, and anti-LGBT persecution that can make life dangerous for certain individuals. A portion of these arrivals were effectively foot soldiers in waiting for the gangs. British officials noticed a pattern. Organised criminal groups had embedded themselves in the migrant routes. Albanian gangs were operating around the migrant camps in northern France, offering passage to the UK for those who couldn't afford it, in exchange for a future debt. Young men who agreed to these terms often didn't realise exactly what awaited them. They might have thought they'd work construction or some job to pay off what they owed the smugglers. The reality was often more grim. Once in Britain, cut off from family and hiding from authorities, these men found the smugglers transformed into their handlers. They were told they had debts running into tens of thousands of pounds, far more than the original cost of the journey, padded with brutal interest. To repay it, they had two choices: either toil in the underground economy for slave wages or directly involve themselves in the gang's criminal enterprises. The journey through Europe was harrowing, packed in lorries, hiding in safe houses, and finally a dangerous nighttime boat ride across the channel. There are many young Albanian men invisible in plain sight across the UK, washing cars, working on construction sites for cash, guarding cannabis grows in suburban houses, effectively indentured to the criminal networks that brought them in. They blend in because they're mostly white and speak a bit of English. People assume they're just another migrant worker from Eastern Europe, maybe Polish or Romanian. But in reality, they are victims of trafficking, every bit as much under the thumb of their employers as a woman in a brothel or a child in a sweatshop. The Albanian gangs exploit these men viciously, knowing they won't go to the police. They're too scared and often ineligible to stay legally. One charity worker in London remarked that the levels of violence and intimidation used by these traffickers are shocking. She said it's hard to comprehend how brutally the young men are treated, because people normally associate trafficking with women and sexual exploitation, not with adult males doing manual labor. Yet here it is. Modern slavery, hidden behind the facade of normal odd jobs. Then there are the women. Decades after first muscling into the sex trade, Albanian crime groups are still deeply involved in pimping and human trafficking for sexual exploitation. A woman named Zana, not her real name, tells a familiar story. She was approached in Tirana with an offer to work as a nanny in London. Desperate to improve her life, she agreed and was slipped into Britain with a fake passport. The moment she arrived, the nightmare began. Her handlers took her documents and beat her. She was told she'd be working off a huge debt. Zana ended up in a massage parlor in Soho, forced to serve up to a dozen men a day, never seeing a penny of the money. Whenever she resisted, her pimp, an Albanian man who had himself once been an exploited teen in the drug trade before earning a promotion to running girls, burned her with cigarettes. It took months before police, acting on a tip, raided the place and freed her. By then, the damage, physical and psychological, was done. Zana was just one of many. In cities across Europe, Albanian-run prostitution rings have been busted, where women from all over Eastern Europe, including Albania's own rural areas, were kept in inhumane conditions. It's another way these gangs prey on the hopes of the vulnerable. Every person who dreams of a better life can be a tool for them. Whether that's a young man who thinks he can strike it rich selling drugs, or a young woman who thinks she's getting a legitimate job abroad. The common denominator is the exploitation of desperation. Even within the UK, Albanian gangsters find ways to exploit local vulnerabilities. They've been known to recruit British teens as well, especially runaways or kids from troubled homes, to work as street dealers or drug couriers. The rise of the Albanian cocaine importers actually made things hotter on the streets for a lot of British gangs. Suddenly, cocaine was everywhere, cheaper.
All right, so what do you think about that, man?
Yeah, I mean, I've already heard about these Albanian gangs. And yeah, it is human trafficking, and it is a problem that doesn't really get looked at so much because of, like the person said, they are Caucasian, and they kind of slip through into the society. But it's a big problem, yeah.
But again, where's the political pressure? Where's the protest? Where's the outcry about it? Where's the cry about humanitarian?
Like even another one, apparently one of the most imported migrants illegal migrants is Vietnamese people. And I remember there was on the news about the Vietnamese people in the back of that fridge truck, and they all got frozen.
Yeah.
That was on the news. That was like a really big thing on the news. But then nobody really talks about the Vietnamese illegal immigrants coming over. It's always about the boats from the Middle East and from Africa. But there's Asians coming over, like Oriental Asians. There's the Albanians and the Eastern Europeans. They're also coming over illegally through crime networks.
Yeah.
And it's tough, but
there's a criminal element to all of this as well. Like, so it's complex, man. Like this topic's not just.
But it's all by design, people.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Let's not ruin it, because I want to finish on that note. Yeah, kind of thing. All right. So obviously we've heard Nigel Farage recently saying, that we would just deport them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I put to ChatGPT and I said, look, I just heard Nigel Farage say this, yeah? Leader of the Reform Party. And ChatGPT then turned around and said to me, yes, if Reform Party leader became Prime Minister, there would be serious legal restrictions on deporting an illegal channel crosser, especially to countries like Afghanistan. Here's why. UK domestic law, yeah? So UK immigration law already allows for deportation of people without legal right to remain, but it must comply with the Human Rights Act of 1998, which incorporates the European Convention of Human Rights. That means if deportation puts someone at risk, torture, execution, or inhumane, degrading treatment, it's unlawful no matter how they entered. What do you think of that?
Yeah, again, I don't want to sound insensitive in it, but I don't really.
So essentially, they're basically saying you're sending someone to their death, so you can't send them back.
So what's the solution then? Yet you just have to keep them. That's the solution.
It would appear so. So international law treaties, 1951 Refugee Convention, which the UK signed. The UK must not return a refugee to a place where their life or freedom would be threatened. Principle of I can't even say that one. I'm not going to try it. Right, but you get the idea. UN Convention against torture, same principle. Can't send someone to a country where they'd likely be tortured.
Well, why are they going to get tortured? Because they fled their country, or they're a criminal,
or maybe they're against the establishment and what they stand for.
And meaning that they're going
to but potentially they could be a rebel. Which at the same time, if they don't agree, like I know what you're about to say, if they don't agree with UK policy, are they going to be a problem?
I think this is the concern. Like, if I had to put myself into the normie perspective, but also maybe the right wing perspective.
Yeah.
If these people are fleeing their country because they are they don't support their country or whatever, they want to make a better life, but then they use criminal.
And there might be a real dictatorship going on there. Do you know what I mean? I get it.
There could be. But then they're going to use criminal activity to get to this country. So they're going to break laws. They're going to not follow rules, not follow due process, come to a country which is built or should be built on rules and laws and process. We just expect them to
abide by them.
We believe that they're just going to come here and abide by those rules and laws. And like you said, what happens when they disagree with the policies? Are they going to just submit to the current country that they're in?
That's a question, isn't it, to be asked, isn't it?
But like, let's be honest about it. Would the majority who have no ties or affiliations to the values of the country, they're now in it. Now they're.
Well, no. Like, let's be honest, right? Okay, this doesn't apply to, and I have to use Muslims in this example right now, right? So there are a lot of Muslims, not all of them. Yeah, I don't want to paint all of them with the same brush.
Yeah, we can't generalize. I get that. Yeah,
okay, but there are. I wouldn't even say a lot. I would say there's groups of Muslims who are advocating Sharia law and Islamic law here in the UK. Facts. That's a fact. I've heard them say it. I've seen video clips and stuff on social media where they've said this. And there's the example of what you're talking about, what you're describing right now, and it is concerned because we're not a nation like that.
We're a very tolerant country. No, yeah. I guess but that's being exploited.
And then people are going to say, well, we got so much racism. Yeah, we do, but you still have your right to your faith. You still have the right to practice your faith, your culture, etc., and stuff like that. You still have the right to live here, have the same benefits as anyone else, and all that sort of stuff. So it's yes, racism exists in all walks of life, all over the planet, in every corner of the planet. It's something we're never going to eradicate, right? But do you still have the right to function? Is it apartheid here? No. So are you still able to go to school? Do you still get free education until you're 19? Yes. Can you go to university? Yes. Can you get a degree? Yes. Can you get a job? Yes. Regardless of what color you are. Yeah. Yes, there might be racial barriers within that because we can't say that there aren't racial prejudice, but generally you do. People are working, black, white, brown. You know, getting an education. You're out there working in the offices and stuff like that.
Could you argue that it's actually being flipped in terms of like positive discrimination, DEI?
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on as well, where people aren't capable or qualified to do a job, but they're in the job for that reason, and they're protected for that reason as well, because no one wants that bite back coming back at them.
Yeah,
and those people know that, and this is where I now, where I call out racism, and I feel like a lot of these protesters outside the hotel are racist. Yeah, I'm just going to call it how I see it. There's going to be quite a few there, but in the minimum, I think, who are generally just concerned. But then I think there's a lot of them in there who have racially motivated. But at the same time, I'm going to call out the race card as well. You know, there's people out there who know they can sit in a job and no one can touch them because they're black, they're brown, they're whatever, and they exploit that as well. So they're not. It's not all innocent on the other side, if that makes sense.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. I just went through international law. Let's go for, all right, so specific to Afghanistan, for example, right? UK courts and the Home Office currently recognise Afghanistan as unsafe for most returns due to Taliban rule, ongoing violence and persecution risks. forced returns there have been suspended since August 2021. I'm guessing when did Biden pull out of?
About that time.
About that time, wasn't it? Yeah. To restart them, the government would either have evidence Afghanistan is safe, which is extremely unlikely right now, or withdrawal from the human rights obligation, which would be politically and legally explosive. What do you reckon? What do you make of that?
You know, it's a weird one because we're getting all this information from the media and maybe people who have... Because I've seen YouTubers go to these countries, like not necessarily born and bankrupt, but similar to those kind of YouTubers where they're over there. And yes, there's people walking around with AKs and stuff, but they're also pretty hospitable over there, where you can go there and, you know, there's a marketplace and people, you know, there's kids running around.
I think I sent you that one. Remember, like, there's that, was he American or something? Yeah. And he was with the Afghani guy and he had a gun and he must have been Taliban or something.
But they were nice blokes and hey, try this soup.
Don't pay no money, don't worry. Yeah. And he's eating food and everything.
But that's one video, but there's loads of videos like that. Yeah. And I think it's too easy for the Western media to be like, Afghanistan's really messed up, and then to hear an anecdote here and there say, oh yeah, it's really bad. And it might be, for sure it might be. But then what about all the other stories where the people are saying, yeah, actually, you know what, the people there are really great and it's not what we're told. And I saw a guy who cycled from, I think it was from China, or like from all the way to the UK, went to the Giant factory, and he went through Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And yes, there was a little bit of issues at the borders and stuff like that. But once he was on the road there, from the video, this place was looking really nice, like the roads and the mountain backdrop, and the people were friendly. And
this is like when I sent those videos to Waz about Iran, and he was like, Iran propaganda, it's Iranian propaganda. I'm like, shut up, man, yeah. And there's people that do videos of like walkthroughs, Tehran and places like that. And bruv, I was amazed, yeah, how clean, how high tech it was. And I thought, beautiful. I would actually visit that country. I actually do want to go there.
Yeah, no, likewise.
Yeah? I'd like to see it from my own eyes.
And the mosaics that they have, it's ridiculous.
But the women, right, where you hear all this stuff that women have to cover their heads, I was seeing women who had their head covered. I had women who were fully covered for a start. Well, then you had them like with the headscarf and just a headscarf on. Then you had women who weren't covered at all. Right, they're not like revealing body parts or anything, but they're wearing jeans and tops, westernized clothes, hair's out, makeup's on. I was like, huh? I thought these guys were like
oppressive and
all oppressed. Yeah. And then I was reading the comment section, and people were saying, yeah, it's a little bit less lenient in Tehran, and you go down here and it's a little bit stricter, but not as strict. Women still can walk around. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, what the hell am I so like? What am I being told by the media, and what are we being told by the feminists? You know, not that I trust feminists. Let's be honest, shit, because we know we've done our little combo on that. We got to go deeper in that at some point, but it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, really. Is it that bad in somewhere like Iran? Is it that bad in Afghanistan? I don't know. I'm not there.
But then you can't deny videos that you see that say, actually, you know what? It's not actually as bad as the media is portraying it to be, and it's not as bad as what the liberals in the West are saying it is. So
you got people going there.
Black and white, guys.
Don't get on. I've seen some videos where some people have been really badly treated, like a black guy in India. And he was just sitting there trying to eat his meal, and they were basically being racist towards him, right? So he didn't engage with him because he thought, well, I'm outnumbered. If I kick off, I'm getting done. So ate his food, paid for his food, and just left. So there is mistreatment as well. Like I said, nowhere's perfect. That happens here as well. You could come here on a holiday and get abused and robbed or whatever, or racially abused and stuff like that. That's just the world. There's good and bad people in all walks of life, right? In all countries, in all religions and everything. So, but yeah, I agree. I mean, how bad is it? I don't know. I'm not saying it isn't, but I can't sit here and say I don't know because I've not been there. How do I know? You haven't been there. How do you know? Do you know what I mean? The women that are coming across, like, I don't know. It's a hard one. I don't want to. At the same time, like, I don't want to offend anyone at the same time.
Yeah, I don't want to downplay
any suffering that anyone has experienced.
Yeah, of course.
But you just got to wonder, innit? Like, especially with Iran, I was shocked. I thought Iran, I was going to see women who were freaking only the eyes, nothing else. Do you know what I mean?
Not like
and it wasn't even like that.
Yep.
I was
Same with,
amazed by it. I
even
thought it was amazing.
Algeria, I saw a
Beautiful
video of
country.
Algeria where you would, and it's only in recently that Islam has kind of like really become where it is more oppressive. But in the 90s and stuff, their high street was, you could mistake it for Spain. Do you know what I mean? It was just like everybody's walking freely, jeans, whatever. You know what I mean?
Even Afghanistan did.
And then Islam kind of became a bit more imposed. But the country itself before that was very westernized in a sense. Was it Iraq as well that women were allowed to drive? Women were having education and were allowed to drive. And then yes, the West.
Well, I don't think Iraq was that bad in terms of women's education and stuff like that. Like you look at even like Libya, girls and boys got educated. And went to university. I remember witnessing one woman who she was funny, bro. She was a doctor. Yeah, the guy goes, "You're a doctor." He goes, "Yeah, but you got a gun." She goes, "Yeah, this is my gun." She had like an AK-47 or something like that, assault rifle. And I remember doing an interview when this whole thing was going on with Libya. And she turned around and said, she goes, "And you're here protesting as a woman for Colonel Gaddafi?" She goes, "Yeah." And he goes, "Why?" And she's like, "I'm a doctor because of him. He allowed me to have an education. He allowed me to go to university. Yeah, so I'm a doctor because of him. So any other country, there's other countries you could go to. I would not got that opportunity. So yes, I'm here for my leader. I'm here standing for him." So don't tell me the man was persecuting and oppressing women when there's a woman telling you she was a doctor because of him.
Straight up.
Help it make sense, man.
But that's what I mean about the West and the media and the liberals.
We get propaganda, isn't it?
It's propaganda, but they're brainwashed. And yeah, it's divide and conquer. We're going to talk about it at the end, and it's all part of the plan.
So look, practical barriers. Yeah, even if the law was changed, deportations require a functioning agreement with the destination country. This is what you touched on earlier on, right? And the Taliban government isn't officially recognised by the UK government, so there's no formal deportation arrangement. Without cooperation from the receiving country, flights can't go ahead.
So now, okay, again, without being insensitive, I'm going to keep repeating that because I want people to know that we're just having a conversation, innit?
Well, we've got to have so you can't be shy about the conversation.
So we can't deport them, so therefore they have to now stay.
Yeah. Or unless we find a country that's willing to take them in, and who's going to take them in? No one's going to take them in.
So they stay now and supposedly integrate.
So even to your point where you said, come out of these treaties, come out of these accords, and just deport them. We have to have that country that we're going to send them to agree. So if they come from Afghanistan says, "No, we don't want them back."
But this is the problem. If Afghanistan don't want them back, why do we have to take the burden of them? What some of the reasons why Afghanistan? Because I was talking.
I don't think Afghanistan are probably going to look at it from 2 points. They're going to look at it from 1 point. Right, these people left us because they don't agree with our reign, yeah, or what we're doing, and also that means that's potentially a rebel. And if a rebel force came together and tried to take us out of power, we can't have that risk. So we're not going to allow them back in.
But to play on that then, but an influx of rebel people coming building in groups of numbers. And again, we can't deny it. Look, we've already established that it's not women and children because of the journey and there's reasons for it. But the fact is it's men coming over and majority of them being fighting aged males. And they're growing in numbers. And as we've just said just now, probably with rebel ideology. That's a concern. Has to be a concern. And I don't care what any liberal tells me. No. That's a concern.
So I'm not going to read everything because there's a lot of information here, right? But bottom line, there'll be a lot of things. There's a lot of red tape to cut through to make it happen.
Can I just say, I read it somewhere. This is not my own thought, but this is like I read it somewhere or I heard somebody say, could we just dump them all on like an island somewhere?
Where?
Like a remote island.
Yeah, but an island is usually controlled by
an uninhabited island.
A state.
Yeah.
How many islands were you going to put that on?
Loads of British islands, no?
Yeah, but there are islands. Why are we
going to just buy an island? Like all these elites are buying islands. Can't we just put them on an island?
You can't put them all on. How many are coming?
So you're saying that there's too many?
But I already said there's too many. We said that at the beginning. I said that at the beginning.
No, I agree.
I said to you. I've already said to you that
it's gasoline on the fire, man.
Before 2020, yeah,
net migration was
it was manageable, even the illegal side of it. But now it's not. It's like way out of control. How are you managing it?
Way out of control.
I've never seen hotel after hotel getting locked down in terms of the government saying, "Here, we'll pay you this much. How's these people for us?"
We're getting fleeced, bro.
We're getting fleeced by everyone.
But I don't like that they're pouring gasoline in it.
I'm just going to do like a breakdown of this because I'm not going to read through all this because I'm getting tired of reading now. Yeah. Okay. But basically, right, Farage, for example, he'd have to change UK domestic law, right? Break and rewrite international commitments, secure deportation arrangements, and obviously restrict the courts. But prepare for political and trade fallout because other countries may disagree with the UK. So now they don't want to trade with us, or it may affect trade and
do it. I don't get it. Do
economics.
it. Look, if that's what the people want, yeah. If you believe in a democracy, which obviously I know it doesn't really exist in the real world, right? But if you believe in a democracy,
still got to do that episode.
And if you believe that the government will listen to you, and the majority of the population want these changes, then do it. And get it done properly, not like the Brexit where it's like half-baked and bullshit.
That's my question. How do we know the majority want it? Because there's equally as many people who are counter-protesting the right. How do you know?
I think a lot of people, I think it's a silent majority. I think people don't want to come out and say that they're against it because of the whole, you're a racist card. You know, it just gets thrown out there so much. And it's a really bad label. Nobody wants to be called a racist, especially if they're not actually a racist. But that's what the liberals will throw at them, innit, if you disagree with it. So a lot of people, I believe at least, are a silent majority. But when it comes to voting time, or it comes to actually saying whether, this is a decision that you guys want to be made, then I think, or I feel at least, the majority of people don't want this.
I feel like, you know what? My other concerns around this isn't just about illegal migration. It is also around people who come here to study, work visas and stuff like that, right? That's a concern for me as well. Because I'm telling you now, right, if you were successful in getting all the illegal migrants out, yeah, and you deported them all, I feel like majority of the people who are at those protests will start on the next level of migration and say, get rid of these ones, they're taking all our jobs.
You say that, but at the same time, I have heard.
And remember, I saw a lot of this when I was a kid as well, man. So, like, I remember I grew up at a time of national pride and all that
I
stuff.
understand that, but
I'm reading the comment sections on videos, and I always read them because I want to get a gauge of what people are thinking or how deep is this going, right? And they're all saying, majority of them do say, get them all out. They all have to go.
See, I
also believe is aimed at us, people like you and me.
But at the same time, I have
that's a concern for me.
Interviews. But I have heard interviews that the people of the protest saying, like, we really are focusing on the illegal.
For now, they are. Because that's the main one to go for right now. Eventually, because remember, there's a lot of people saying they're taking our jobs. Who are you referring to then? You're referring to people who are coming over here with work visas and students and stuff like that. And someone that probably always has your job. I remember a school teacher you had to put up with. I've never had to deal with this yet. I'm sure I will at some point. Some idiot will say it to me in my lifetime. A school teacher who Mr. Singh, yeah, who was a science teacher. And remember another teacher told us this story. In the pub, they're having a drink, and the guy walks up and goes, you're taking our jobs and blah, blah, blah. And he just got up and he said to me, he goes, could have fought him, but he didn't. He said, okay, have you got a degree in this? No. Have you got a degree in this? Have you got a degree in this? Yeah. How have I got your job then? It's not your job, it's my job, because I've got all of these. Go and get one, get yourself all of these, you can have my job.
No, I agree.
And you remember,
I think the whole stealing
there's a lot of that going on. Yeah. And it leads me to the next clip. Because I want to give this girl a good shout out, yeah. Even though Waz reacted like Waz does when he can't rebuke what someone's saying, he'll call him a name. I'm not going to repeat what he called her, but it wasn't nice. But I'm going to play this clip.
Let's see.
Let me tell you, dirty, dingy, dusty, racist prick Sutton, yeah? You want to start racist riots around the UK? but you don't know your fucking history. Well, I'm here to give you a history lesson. The reason why immigrants came to this dusty, dingy fucking country is because half of your men were wiped out by World War fucking II. They didn't do it because they wanted equality. They didn't do it because they wanted diversity. They wanted black people to come over to this country and rebuild it again. And you want to know the real reason why you won World War II? It's because India, India sent around 1.2 million Indians to come and fight the fucking fight because they were part of the Commonwealth, you understand? So if you knew your fucking history, you wouldn't be going after immigrants so fucking hard. America didn't save your ass, Clark. It was India, yeah? And you're talking about you want your jobs back. What fucking jobs are you talking about? Where are they? Are they on Indeed? Are they on Total Jobs? Where are they? Because there's 9 million jobs, that you can access, that you can fucking apply for. So where the fuck are these immigrants taking jobs? What, you want toilet cleaning? You want office cleaning jobs? You want carer jobs? You want car wash jobs? You want nail salon jobs? You want barbershop jobs. That's what you're angry about. The reason why you don't have those fucking jobs is because you don't have the skill set. You don't add to anything. You are laborers. That is what your history is known for. You are factory workers. You are miners. Most of you work in fucking construction because you can't string a sentence together. But you want to target fucking immigrants. How dare you? Let me tell you something else. The reason why you don't have jobs is because the UK don't export anything. They don't build fuck all. They don't do fuck all. And they don't invent fuck all. And you people ain't gonna work for £5 an hour in a factory. You're best staying on fucking benefits. So instead of being angry at the immigrants trying to make an honest fucking living, I suggest you look towards the Houses of Parliament because those are the people who put you in poverty. And you can throw all the racist parties you want. We ain't fucking going anywhere. So get fucking used to it. And if it weren't for the immigrants that came over here and made your country great again, you'd be living with animals, piss and shit. Do you understand? Oh. And the homeless and the toothless can't tell me shit about this country. This is my country now. Do something. And I'm not talking about all white people. I'm talking about racist white people. And if you feel offended by this video, then it's you me a talk to.
Imagine if she was your bird.
No,
that's too much, man.
She's annoying. I can't lie. Look, I understand where she's coming from, but at the same time,
forget how she was saying it.
Shut up, bro. No, but why is she shouting and like swearing? That she sounds unnecessary.
Yeah, but she's venting like they're venting, innit, I suppose.
But okay, I agree in terms of the word immigrants, but I think, and I'm not saying that she's obviously talking about the whole racist protesters against the whole thing. I get that, but with this whole discussion, we're talking about the illegal immigrants that are coming over through
I said at the beginning, we're going to talk about migration as a whole.
And I get that, but obviously she wants to address immigrants and the people who are coming here to work and so on. And yeah, she's right, actually. Yeah, this nation's built on immigrants who are working.
No, but I think I wanted to play that to kind of...
But what
more for purpose of someone watching this as an education purpose. Yeah, she's a bit crazy the way
she's calling it a dingy, dusty country, and then she's gonna be like, "Well, why don't?"
It's the whole dingy and dusty though, man.
Yeah, true, but
it's 9 months of the year. It's miserable, man. So as much as we love home, right? Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. All right, okay, all right. She did it in her own way, and that's fair enough. But in terms of what she's saying, yeah, I can't do anything but agree with her, right? Okay. When people say, oh, what have they ever done for this country? Done plenty. Yeah, the backbone of this country. Yeah,
that's true.
Right, the backbone of the culture of this country is all I'll have to add as well, right? You got to look at it from World War I. So World War I think it was like 1.3 million Indians fought in there. 2.6 million fought in World War II. Like she said, 1.2, 1.3 in Europe, the rest on the Pacific against the Japanese. So the largest ever volunteered army, I might add, not forced. 1 million black African men, 20,000 Caribbean black men, So, and then to come back and build the infrastructure, help rebuild the infrastructure, you can't turn around and say it's not your country. Fuck off. Actually, it's very much your country. You were part of the British Empire. You were part of those colonies, which were part of the British Empire, and you played your part, and they played their part. So to turn around and say that, no, people don't belong. People that are born here and stuff like that don't belong here.
I'm not here to argue for the racist protesters, but in rebuttal to what she's saying is she's not really addressing like what the Albanian gang crimes that are coming over. She's not addressing the human trafficking in the back of the fridge. She's not addressing the people that are coming on the boats with no documentation, no idea, and not being vetted properly. She's not talking about those illegal immigrants that I think.
No, but you heard what she said there at the end. She says, "I'm not going nowhere." So she's clearly talking about what she's talking about, which is what I've touched on. Yeah, forget illegal migrants. We've moved on from that now. This conversation. Yeah, I think we've talked.
I'm guessing that's why she's brought that conversation up.
But at the same time, I think she's seeing what I'm seeing as well. Where there's a lot of people saying, "Nah, they all got to go." Like, what have they ever done for our country? And I've seen this loads of time. I actually replied years ago to someone, on TikTok because I just got annoyed with it. So I said to him, I gave him the numbers like I just did give you who fought what in this country. And I said, go shut your mouth, mate. Because my family did as much as you did. Yours did. Don't even try it. Yeah, and radio silence. Didn't reply. Yeah. And I always say that's the best way to do it. Do it with knowledge, right? Learn your history and do it with knowledge. But
then if you learn the history, then you understand that the war was also a bit of a...
Yeah, let's not go into that. Yeah, don't mention that documentary, please. Yeah, all right, okay, don't say.
But it's just Rich coming from. She's getting really emotional in it.
Yeah, but you get emotional. Shut up. What are you talking about? You're so fucking emotional. It's unbelievable. Yeah, you can shut up. Yeah, how wound up do it? Like if I showed you screenshots of Treble in our group chat, yeah, you would see how emotional he's getting when I'm winding him up. And you know what? I do it on purpose because I'm not gonna lie, I get a kick out of it because I'm sitting there laughing my head off on my side, and he's going, that's why he's like literally he can't even go to bed until he's got to reply to me. Yeah,
you can't just leave it like that. But no, I get what she's saying, but it's just obviously the way she's shouting at me. It's like, if you want me to be, for me at least, obviously what she said is true.
I don't think. I think you're misunderstanding what she's trying. She's venting frustration, and she wants to make a point, right? And put it out there. Like, this is how it is. Yeah, whether you like it or not, whether you take it in or not, I don't care. I'm putting it out there because I need to get it off my chest. Yeah, now jog on because I ain't going nowhere. And I think that's just the point. The bottom line of it was, but I agree with everything she's now I've said there. I agree with what you're saying as well. She's not highlighting, but I feel like that's someone who's probably seen comment sections and whoa, you're talking about me as well. I was born here. What are you coming at me for? Hence why I brought up that point. I feel like it will move on to that because. Who are the billionaires and the politicians going to blame it on next? Yeah, if the illegal migrants gone, they've got to blame it on the ones that are coming across. When people notice that their life isn't getting better, they're not getting any richer, their pockets aren't getting any deeper, they've got to blame it on the next person. And the next person will be the ones that are coming over and working and studying and doing all that sort of stuff and doing the shit jobs that none of us want to do. And then if you get rid of them, who's left? The ones that are born here. Well, it's them. They're causing you problems because they're taking all your jobs. Do you know what I mean? It's only going to get worse.
No, I agree. I was in like a seaside town and I was walking around and you can feel like there's hostility. Not hostility, but in my own head, because I'm coloured, I feel like I'm automatically going to be assumed to be
Bruv, you get away with you get away with being more Mediterranean than anything else, right? So you probably get a little bit of a pass. Imagine if I walk through there with my shaved head and my beard, and I'm dark brown.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Oh shit.
Yeah, right. I mean, I get people on the street saying, "Hey, brother." I'm like, oh god, it's another guy thinks I'm a Muslim. Yeah, right. Up, and he's like, "Hey, I'm a Muslim, bruv." I'm not Muslim, bruv. Yeah, and like, oh, yeah, just because I'm brown with a beard doesn't make me a Muslim, brother. Yeah. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. But you know he's about to ask me for a favour or something like that. And he changed his mind because I've told him I'm not Muslim.
I'm Muslim in it.
So it's like, but yeah, I agree like with her.
But okay, with that woman, again, just having an open conversation.
Yeah, go for it.
Do you think she understands the real world?
What, the one that we're about to talk about?
Yeah, and maybe like stuff like 2020 and stuff like that.
Like, what do you mean? Like what went on?
with the
yeah. Without saying too, don't say it. Yeah, all right.
Stuff like that, because I think for me, it's easy to get lost in the politics, but
she probably doesn't, man. Like a lot of them don't. But at the end of the day, she doesn't need to be able to understand that she feels like you're targeting me now as well. On top of that,
no, I agree. I get that.
And she has a right to vent that and even put you in your place and say, actually, you're an idiot. You know that. Fair play to her, man.
No, I agree. Look, the racist protesters are they're backwards with their one tooth and shit. Yeah, it's fucked up.
Some of them like I've seen some of the kind of and she's right. A lot of them can't even string a sentence together, man.
And I'm like, Stella in their hand,
and I'm like you tell. So it's like you're coming over here. So there's one clip of one guy, and he was like, they're coming over here and they're taking all our benefits and all our taxpayer money, and they don't want to work. But then they're also, and she goes, oh, right, okay, and that's why you're against them. Yeah, and they're taking all our jobs. And she's like, so they don't want to work, but they're taking all our jobs. I was like, mate, make your point, like, but he was barely stringing the words together. And it's just like, come on, man, you expect me to take someone like you seriously right now?
So obviously we're not here with the conversation with her, so she can't really answer for herself, but just to play on it, does she support the idea of us paying benefits for the hotels and stuff?
Don't know, mate.
Does she support that her taxpayers' money is also going
to... if you ask her that question, I think 85% chance she would say yes.
That she's okay to pay taxpayers' money.
I don't know.
The Barrys.
It's hard.
She's obviously against the Barrys.
It's hard, man. Like it's hard to say, like, because of the what she's talking about. It's hard to say whether she agrees with that. And I remember I agree with her. But also at the same time, you and I are on the same page that illegal migration is out of control here, and there's concerns, and there's risks, and there's all of that stuff that comes with it, right? And it's not in line with how it used to be before. It's like a wave. It is right at the moment. We're being swarmed right now, right?
Invaded,
or like how you like to call it, which is invaded. Right? Okay, so you could have that mindset of hers and still not totally agree with what's going on with the illegal migration. I'm evidence of that. So I don't know where she stands with it. It'd be like, I think she's just very pissed off at the fact that, yeah, she's probably thinking like, oh, most of you guys, she's probably thinking like me, is most of you guys out there protesting, aren't, you don't really care. You're just there to push your racial ideologies.
And that is true for a lot of people there.
I think majority of them, man. Personally, I think there's a very small percentage of there that actually because they're just concerned. They've been watching too much news, listening to too much Farage, too much Tommy Robinson, and now they're like, oh my God. And they're there for that point. And they're generally there because they're concerned. And they're bought into it, the propaganda. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of them there who were just outright racists.
True.
Right. Let's finish it up, man.
Yeah.
So we gotta let's get. No, we could go on all day, but it's a complex issue, man. There's no. How do you resolve it? How do you? Like, I honestly don't know where you would start with it. Like, I have an idea of how I think it should be managed, but then again, when you think about how you can't just return someone, so even if I turn around and said to that person, you got 2 years to get yourself in a job and speaking English and whatnot, and then you're on your own.
I don't even agree with that being a good solution necessarily.
Like, what do you do with them, right? Yeah, because
in an ideal world,
where can you put them?
What would you do in an ideal world? Let's say you had total power. You're prime minister, and you can actually change laws.
What? I could just dump anyone where I want?
No, but maybe not necessarily the sending them back. But how would you run the country so that things will start to heal itself almost?
Wow, that's a deep question, man.
Well, obviously you want to target the elite. So is that something that you would highlight?
Yeah, of course it was. Of course it would.
Like for me, I don't
know necessarily what I would highlight it straight away. I think you have to be strategic with it. I think you definitely need to change things, the way the country works. I think you definitely need to do an audit of where all the money is, where is it going, and how's it being spent, and then pull the money where it's being wasted. Kind of similar like Doge, right? Right? Okay, I don't know how effective and how real that was. I never went into the depths of it all, right? There's people who are now exposing it for bullshit, right? But genuinely doing a real audit. Yeah, and really bringing in, and I'm not talking about using people in the government. I'm talking about maybe you hire a company who deals with that sort of stuff and goes through the books. Like, I want to know where all the money is being spent. Where is it going? Yeah. Once you understand that, then you can make your cuts. Right. We don't need that. Get rid of that. We don't need that. Get rid of that. We don't need that. Why are we spending money on this shit for? Like, hold on. We can't even get our kids through school, and we're spending money on this over here. Nah, get rid of that as well. Nah, I don't give a shit about climate change right now. Yeah, because first I need to get. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, all right. If you think that we need to do better with the environment, cool. For now, we've got to put it on hold. Yeah, I'm not spending that money because we need to do this right now. We need to fix right now. Yeah. You know, and then you got to look at the state of the NHS. I know what's wrong with the NHS. Yeah, that's probably another episode altogether.
For sure, yeah. I think
I'm not going to do that here, but there's a documentary I still got to watch. I took a clip from it as well. So I know what's wrong with the NHS. Yeah. And it's bad. You need to fix that. And a lot of people are saying it's the migrants. It's not. Yeah. NHS is in deep in debt. Right. I'm going to give you a small summary right now. The funding that they get from the government, a lot of that money goes off to paying their debt, which the government put them in. That money goes to a private firm that they're indebted to, which is some billionaire collecting that check. Again, billionaire elites, right? And then there's a small chunk left spread across the NHS, and that's why it struggles. It's got nothing to do with migration and stuff like that. It's the way it's funded. It's the way it's the trap that it's been put in. They want it to collapse, so you got to put it in a position where it's going to collapse, and it will at some point. It's going to happen. You know, it's a hard question to ask, and I can't answer it in 5 minutes. But yeah, policing, you got to look at, but then you also have to audit the police as well, because how many bent coppers are there out there at the top of the tree?
Yeah, the top of the tree as well.
Right, how many bent coppers are out there? Yeah, you got to look at that sort of thing as well. Like, you know, there's a lot of low end beat cops who are involved in this stuff as well. Like, come on, we're hearing about it. You know, they're girls trying to run away from grooming gangs and stuff like that, and coppers turning around and say, well, you got to do me actual favors. I'll say it that way. Hopefully the algorithm doesn't pick that up, right? And I won't send you back to them. The fuck is that?
The fuck is that, innit?
And now they're coming out with this. Have you heard of this? I heard a whim. I've not gone into it. Now they're also saying that, actually, do I have that clip? Shall I play it?
Go on.
Hold on.
Why are Brazilian paedophiles able to find shelter here because of the application of human rights law that stops them being deported back to Brazil? Why are we checking the asylum claims of a man who was already a convicted sex offender in this country? Or an Afghan asylum seeker trying to defend his rape of a 15-year-old schoolgirl by citing cultural differences and language barriers? Why are nearly half of babies born in Bradford in the Pakistani community the product of first cousin marriages? Why are certain public buildings in certain parts of this country having signs written in a language that excludes English? Why is the English speaking of 1 million adults in this country poor or non-existent? I don't think there is national disunity about what needs to happen here. The state needs to become much more robust, much less timid, in stating very clearly that these are our cultural norms, these are our rules, and if you don't abide by them, then you face severe consequences. What the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing that means that the police in this country, the judiciary in this country, the people responsible for protecting the most vulnerable people in society at their most vulnerable point in their lives say, actually, no, we think you were in love with him. That the 13-year-old was in love with the 56-year-old man who already had 3 children. The police and the prosecution services responsible for bringing people to justice say, nah, downgrade that one. It's a child.
So basically, Treble, the girls are in love with their abusers.
At 15.
With a 56-year-old man.
Yeah, who has kids. It's crazy. I mean, like, look, this is why I can't really say, oh, yeah, we just have to fund the police more. Yeah, we should, but with the right people, because it's corrupt at all levels, isn't it? The judiciary system is bought out, and there's a lack of trust at the moment, evidently, because they're proving to be corrupt. So that isn't the be-all end solution to solving the problems, is it?
Like, it's just mad, mate. There's so many problems, right? But at the same time, it's part of the plan, bruv.
It always is part of the plan.
For you normies out there who are listening, this is part of the plan. Yeah, causing divide, causing division, causing unrest, chaos. Yeah. So what's it again? Problem.
Chaos. Oh, problem, reaction, solution.
There you go.
Kiglady.
They cause the problem deliberately. You're giving the reaction now. And they're going to give you the solution. And that solution you're already starting to see, which is obviously now you're seeing Online Safety Act, as they call it, which is actually the first stage of digital IDs.
Digital IDs, yeah.
Digital ID.
Cameras coming out on the roads now. All in an act of safety because of the problem that they've created. Well,
the problem they've created, and you're reacting to the reaction. And you're reacting to it. And your reaction is now going to lead them down the line and saying, we've got the solution. Here's the solution. We're going to tag everyone. We're going to bring in facial recognition cameras. We're going to bring in this online safety law. We're going to tag you all with microchips now, which will be, you know, your passport and everything in there, your bank account, everything to prove that you are a legal citizens of this country, you know, and we'll know who the illegals are now, and then we'll deport them and they'll promise you the world. Yeah, and not deliver the promises, the fixes that they're promising you, only the fixes that they want, which is to tag you and enslave you into a system, a digital trap,
and more control in it,
and more control.
It's obvious, and like
the elites are doing it, and they're bringing it into the country, man. Like I could play a clip right now, but I think it would end up getting us banned. Yeah. So, but there's a certain demographic who are pumping them in. This is why I don't trust Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson works for. Actually, you know what? Because I know if people get this far in the episode, and we hope they do, I'm going to play a clip.
Go for it.
Of Tommy Robinson, yeah? And this should tell you everything you need to know about that man, okay? So let me play the clip.
If there was a war tomorrow, which there will be, because I'll probably start at the end of the session, if there was a war and it kicked off, I would be there on the front line fighting for
Okay, yeah. So that's Tommy Robinson for you, yeah. And we got to know, you got to remember the demographic that's making this happen, right? They are pumping Europe with. Should I play that clip?
Go on. Do it.
Should we play it?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Let's play it.
It's very clear that the Jews want to exterminate the European race. Richard Coudenhove Kalergi, who is the father of the European Union and who was funded by the Jewish bankers Rothschild and Warburg. Now, this man wrote a book called Praktischer Idealismus in 1925, in which he stated that the Jews are a master race and that the Jews can only assume the throne of rule over the world by weakening the European race, and that the means to weakening the European race would be to dissolve all the European nations, destroy all their cultural heritage and their national traditions, and replace that with the European Union, and then to invite in Africans, Middle Easterners, and Asians to dilute the blood of Europeans through miscegenation to the point where they became a degenerate mixed race. And then at that point, these people would no longer have any sense of nationhood, and the ancient Jewish messianic prophecies of world rule out of Jerusalem, with Jews maintaining their nationhood and their national status, it would fulfill the Jewish messianic prophecies that the Jews could then rule the world. And this was completely in line with what Nikolai had written in 1917 and has manifested itself recently with the invasion of immigrants from Africa, from the Middle East, and from Asia into Europe, America, and Australia. And they are deliberately setting about to genocide the white race and destroy all sense of nationhood and of national heritage and national culture in each of our nations.
So that's a clip that's probably not going to go down too well, but...
Well, it's better that he said it, like, because he summed it up. He summed up exactly what I want to say, but maybe we couldn't have. And this is what I was trying to say about that woman, that, you know, the black lady who was getting all emotional about... I'm here to stay and stuff. I understand where you're coming from. There are some racist protesters and stuff, but will she address that topic that
She probably doesn't even know about
But
it.
this is where I'm like, it's a bit misguided because like you're getting all.
Because she'll watch that. Because you lot are nuts. That's not going on. It's just racist. She's a normie, innit?
And from that perspective, it's like getting all emotional about it when this is the reality. What this guy
But
just
this is what
said
I keep saying to you and
what's
Waz.
going on.
This is what I keep saying to you, Waz. This is the real problem, and you guys are focusing in. Like, I get it, yeah. I get it. You want to focus in on these illegal migrants coming into the country. You can't do shit about this. Is what I keep saying to you boys in the group chat, right? Okay, and that's why I stopped talking because I'm like you lot aren't getting it, yeah. And in the group chat, you two are a bunch of knuckleheads, yeah. I have to get you in person to get you to understand this, right? You cannot do anything about that one particular problem right now. It's going to keep happening until you deal with the real problem. But essentially, you have to chop the head off the snake. And until you do that, this stuff ain't going to stop.
It's not going to stop. It's all by design, isn't it? And I get that.
So, I mean, I'm going to play another clip for you. I think I've got it. I'm going to check. But I'm going to play you a clip of the Hungarian president or prime minister and what he says about George Soros.
Go on. I don't think
you know this?
No, I don't think
cool.
so.
Let's play it.
I do remember how Mr. George Soros published his plan in English in the Project Syndicate publication. It was done 2015, September 26th. And he published a plan. He said that he is I'm quoting, here are the 6 components of my comprehensive plan. I just quote 2 or 3 points of that. First is, he said very clearly, 2015, that, quoting again, EU has to accept at least 1 million asylum seekers annually. That was the first point. Second, he said, adequate financing is critical. And he proposed to issue long-term euro bonds for financing the migration crisis and the migrants' social and welfare taking care when they arrive to the European Union. And another point which is very important for Hungary, which is involving the territory of Hungary directly into this program, he said that, quoting them, safe channels must be established for asylum seekers, starting with getting them from Greece and Italy to their destination countries, which means to bring them to Greece, to Hungary, and then have them to go to Austria. So don't forget that what we are speaking about is not an accidental stories, not a bulk of 10 years of accidental stories. It's a plan which is going on. It was written, it was published, it's known. So we are fighting again an organized gang called Empire of George Soros, and NGOs, who are just supporting everybody who is transgressing our legal system and our regulation, and financing illegal activity against our nation. So this is why the story is not just about migration, but it's about how this European Union is working and how George Soros was able to captive the main positions inside many institutions of European Union, buying out MPs and other leaders, and in order to execute the plan which is written, and it's against all the Christian and nation-based political forces. It's against us. It's about how to change Europe and how to eliminate and push aside all the Christian, conservative, national-based political leaders and voters from the European Union decision-making bodies. So this is the migration about, not just about migration. Sorry for it.
All right.
You should have started with that video. You should have played that at the beginning. Why'd you leave that one all the way to the end, man?
Because we started with normies, innit?
Damn. He just slayed it all out, bro. And this is the thing, yeah. I don't know this woman. I'm just saying her as a ideology because I'm sure other people share what she's saying. But do these people understand this? That Soros is funding all of that. Most people don't even know who Soros is.
No one knows who George Soros. You could barely find a picture of him on the internet.
It's written. This is the thing. It's written in the books. It's written in their clubs. It's written in stone. This is a plan that has been orchestrated over centuries, decades, centuries, millennia. You know, we're talking about Israel and prophecy. We're talking biblical prophecy. This is going back thousands of years. And this is just a natural fruition of what they have designed.
But this is what I'm saying to you.
Should have started with that video, man.
But this is what I said to you, Joker. We could discuss that video at another point. But this is my point to you and Waz, is like, you guys are wasting your time. Yeah, you're wasting your breath talking about this one issue. Yeah, because it's not gonna stop.
No, you know what the problem is. Yeah, I get that, and I do see it from the bigger picture.
And it's so complex. We've just sat here for a couple of hours now, and you and I cannot sit together for within those couple of hours. You and I have not come up with one plan or one idea that we genuinely think will work.
Stop the benefits
and cut through the red tape.
Stop the taxes. Stop benefits. And stop income tax, and I think things will change.
I don't think they will.
But if people aren't paying taxes and the benefits aren't there, then
I think they'll still run here thinking that there's a promised land.
But there's a promised land because there is the promised land of freebies.
Because when you think about it, regardless of what you think, yeah, whatever poverty, whatever they're running from, doesn't exist here to that degree.
To that degree, yeah.
So they're still going to run here.
The problem is, I think what me and Waz really don't like, though, is the liberals who are encouraging it. Because, look, we've just established that this is a plan orchestrated by the elites and certain demographics and prophecy. And we also see it from the criminal side, the gangs and the human trafficking and the thingy. And we can see
we've touched on all of it today.
The money laundering from the foreign aid there and why these countries aren't actually, why are we not trying to improve the nation as opposed to just bringing the problems over here? I think the issue, though, is why the liberals, the hypocrisy that we keep talking about, the hypocrisy that the liberals aren't addressing these issues and aren't raising the facts that these last two videos have highlighted. And they want it to come, the whole banners of welcome. And
but the thing is, you can blame the libs. You can blame the libs as well, but you can blame the right as well. Is that why the right doesn't know about this? So the right should be just as upset and say, hold on. Yeah, right and left, because the right should be turning around and saying as well, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, but the right should turn around and say, hold on. You're telling me this is a plan. You're telling me that this geezer is telling you, so who's running the country? They should be just as in, this is what I'm saying, left and right. You need to come together and wake up. This is what I keep saying to everyone. This war that's going on right now with us, and it is a war on us, on society, all around the world, in every country, right, doesn't get fixed by being divided. You need to wake up to this reality that we're seeing on here, left and right, and say, hold on. These are pitting us against each other, when actually they're the problem. We need to deal with that. That's where the problem lies. And the right have as much of a responsibility as the libs do to be aware of this and challenging back also.
But if anything, though, this knowledge will eventually circulate in the right's channels, but it doesn't come to the left at all.
But I don't think it goes to the right either.
To an extent, it does.
No, I don't think it does. I think
more so than the left.
When you look at Trump right now, yeah. None of those idiots knew what deep state was. Waz just recently learned from talking to me what controlled opposition was. No. Yeah, I'm not calling Waz an idiot, but the majority of those idiots out there who support him didn't even know what the deep state was and probably didn't even believe in it. It didn't exist, right? Trump came along and started talking about the deep state. Oh, the deep state. Now suddenly you're an expert. Shut the fuck up. You sat down and had a conversation. If one of us had a conversation with right now, we're like, wow, you really still are an idiot. You don't really know shit other than what Trump tells you, right? They don't know either. I don't think they know. I don't think they're aware how deep and how it goes. Because then if they did, right, I'll tell you now, they'd be challenging Trump. Why are you taking money from AIPAC? And he's taken a lot of, over 300 million he took from him? They'll be questioning that. So I don't think they are aware. So as much as they'd like to think they are. So this is the problem, and this is what people need to wake up to. That's the real problem. Right there, what we just shown you is the real problem. It's not what you're seeing on TV. It's not what these people think it is. That is the real problem. And that's what I keep saying to you and Waz. You're focusing on the wrong thing. Yeah, you got to be and it's not even easy to go after them. But remember, right? We're the many, they're the few. Like David Icke says, isn't it? Where does the power really sit?
But this is what I'm trying to say. Why can't they do that in Cameroon, for example, where they, if they are the many, why can't they stand up to their corrupt politicians?
But why can't we?
Why can't we as well? Yeah.
So answer that question. Why don't we do that? Because we all see ourselves in this. We're all programmed to do the same thing. Oh, I don't want to do that. I might get arrested and thrown in jail. But if 69 million people in this country suddenly stood up and said, "Nope, not taking it no more," what are we gonna do? We're gonna put them.
Yeah, it's game over.
Oh, we're deporting you. Really? 10,000 people come out here. You ain't deporting no one nowhere, mate. We're here now. Jog on.
True. Yeah.
And not even 10,000. You just need even 1,000 people turned up to hearing that a group of people being deported for speaking out. No. Who are you playing at? Nah, mate. You ain't got enough bullets. But that's the kind of risk you got to take. And that's not easy, man. And then who galvanizes that and brings people together? Pretty charismatic person who's got to be able to do that, man. Someone with real leadership qualities. Not be funny on our side of the argument. I don't see many of them.
Andrew Tate.
Nah, fuck that. no way, mate. He's too much in love with money. Whoever does it can't be in love with money.
Andrew Tate. Tate for Prime Minister.
Can't be in love with money. Doesn't want materialistic things. Is out to do the good for the people. You can't have people like that. Because even he'll be eventually corruptible. I already think he's a bit controlling opposition.
Yeah, he probably is, isn't he?
You know, freaking Tommy Robinson's controlling opposition.
Yeah.
You know, Nigel Farage, all these guys, they're all part of the establishment. Like, this is, I mean, look, Waz was fully supporting Nigel Farage for about a week, and then he watched that Tommy Robinson clip that he sent to us. Oh, no, maybe I won't vote for him. Because Robertson revealed some stuff about, which I watched that clip, and one of them was definitely no mass deportation. And obviously, Waz like, nope,
can't support
not
that
voting
now.
for you. Then there's another party now that's come out where I didn't even really know about them, which was Advanced UK. Have you heard about them?
Nope, not keeping up with politics.
Similar, I only heard about it because people putting it in comment sections and TikTok and Twitter and stuff like that. And then I was like, who is this? So I was like, ChatGPT, who is Advanced, or what is Advanced UK? Again, another version. So it's a reform, some guy who's in the reform party, Pakistani British born, who started here, his name's Sam, whatever. He started his own version, I suppose you could say, of UKIP reform or whatever. And now everyone's like, well, forget reform then, we'll go to Advanced UK. It's like, you're a lot of desperate. Then you're going to find out Advanced UK is not what it's supposed to be. And then you go, oh, let's go to another party then. And it's like, come on, man, when you're going to wake up, man, at some point you got to understand that the political system is rigged. It doesn't work for you. And when we do a documentary of what is democracy real? We're going to do that one. You're going to hear what Dominic Cummings has to say, and has come out in the last year or so and said how it actually works. But yet you still go out and vote.
That was crazy that he came out and said that stuff, though, about how the Prime Minister actually...
Don't get me. Yeah, but like, no, who's really in charge? Who's really in control? But I suppose we've spoken about it enough, man. We've gone, like, I'm now getting a bit of fatigue, man.
Yeah, we're going on for hours in the heat.
We've been going on it for 4 hours now. But look, in the short run, I'm going to just say, like, you're focusing on the wrong things, man. You're focusing on the little, and these are the distractions they create, like you said, you know, they're creating a problem, reaction, solution, right? These are the distractions. Let's get them focused on this so they can't see what we're doing over here. And if you don't turn around and go, actually, forget this for a moment, let's just go and deal with that, because this ain't going to stop. They're just going to keep sending them through. What's the point of going out outside these hotels and dealing with it? We need to deal with the people over here who are making those decisions. Oh, you're not making those decisions. Who's making those decisions? Oh, the elites are. Oh, we need to deal with you guys as well. That's how it gets fixed.
It's all by design.
But then you need a leader who can bring it all home. And they're going to have to go through a whole load of shit as well. Because if you think the establishment's just going to give it away, you got another thing coming, right? But at the same time, right, I just want everyone to make. Oh, I actually want to make a point before we get off. I see a lot of videos where they're saying the police don't do. They're supposed to be supporting us. They're supposed to be protecting us. They're supposed to be serving us, the people. Let me make it really clear to you: the police were not created for you. I know it seems that way, and that's what you've been brainwashed to believe. All right, but the police are essentially an army for the politicians.
Private security.
They're private security. Yeah, their job's not to protect you.
I do think
that's the delusion they create. The illusion and the delusion that they create for you. Yeah, which is they convince you the coppers are here to fight crime and protect the people and all that sort of stuff. They're not. Their main priority is to protect the politicians and their bosses who sit above them. They're not here. They will fight crime and they will do this and that to make it seem to you like they're here for you. And then you'll complain like, oh, they're not doing enough. Yeah, they're not doing enough because their job is actually to protect the politicians. Don't forget that. They don't work for us. They're not here for us. They're not here to serve you. It's just made to look that way.
I think that when I see like the private escorts, when they stop the traffic and they drive around escorting these Range Rovers and stuff, it's like,
go see the elite level police in the City of London.
Yeah,
they don't report to they report to the City of London.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
They're private police in the City of London. Yeah, or whatever you want to call it, London City or whatever.
City of London Corporation.
Yeah. Which was once, I believe, the East Indian Corporation and all that shit.
Yeah,
right.
It's all maritime law. It goes way back.
So, like, go in and do your research. Go and learn some shit. Because I'll tell you now, if you think the coppers are here for you to do a job for you, they're not. And why are they protecting those guys in those hotels? Because they're protecting their investment, the politician and the elite's investment, which has been brought into the country to create divide, all that stuff.
Yeah, we've said a lot.
We've said a lot. Look, I'm going to leave it at that. I think it was very thought-provoking, good conversation. I'm hoping this gets out to a lot of you. And if it does, and you enjoyed the content, as always, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Cypher.
I'm Treble.
And we out.
I would just say as well, it's okay to change your opinion based on information that you receive. Like, I came into this podcast.
He said he was going to get me.
I came in open-minded. I obviously had the knowledge that is from a bigger picture, the elites, like the videos that we just played at the end. But I did come into it with a little bit of prejudice, with my own bias in terms of the stop the boats rhetoric. And, after the conversation, I think it's okay to then say, yes, it is a distraction and we do have to channel our beliefs elsewhere. But till next time.
Yeah, we out.
We out.